All right. Good.
Well, they have one car, but the quicker car. So I think when we look at raw pace, they are 10 or 2 ahead based on the long runs. But the racing is all different, and we've been strong on the Sundays.
Is there a problem with Lewis's car? We saw a bit of work going on the brakes, it looked like.
I hope not. I haven't heard, so let's see.
Okay.
You guys continue to get more and more competitive. Are you happy with
Hello.
that right now?
I think it's always a relative
How
level.
are you,
We've been
Frankie?
so off the pace
Sorry.
in some of the races were on pole in Budapest, and then you go to
Welcome everybody.
1.8 seconds off, and so
been a
it's
hot
been
minute.
swings between exuberance and depression. So we just need to get on a constant slope.
Thanks, Toto. Appreciate it. Best of luck today. Let's
Oh
get
my
some an
goodness.
update then
It's
from
been
down at
a
Lewis's car.
while.
Ted's there. What can you tell
Good
us, Ted?
morning, Wims.
Well, Simon
How are
Toto
you?
Wolff will discover this when he comes back to Lewis Hamilton's car, but yes, indeed, there is a brake problem. So on the formation lap, on the laps to the grid, Lewis Hamilton reported that the brakes were pulling to one side. There was an offset that the engineers call left to right. So when he pressed the brake, the car wasn't stopping in a straight line, it was pulling left to right, and that was giving him a really bad feeling, and one that he could not go into the race with. Now,
That was
have a really sensitive
that was literally the
feel
first
for the
race
brakes
that you were
around here.
supposed to
The circuit's
watch,
very
and you
hard
missed
on
out
brakes.
on
So
Carlos
just to make
winning his
absolutely sure,
maiden.
Mercedes have done something quite unusual, and they've decided to change the whole brake material on both front right and front left. So that's changing the brake pads and the brake discs themselves. This is a job, Simon, that normally the mechanics
One half of me
would like
wants
to
a
give themselves
Carlos
at least
win.
half
The other
an
half
hour
of me
to
wants
do,
a
but
Hamilton
they've got
win.
to do it in 15 minutes.
really
I've got to say, it's very calm down here. Just on the left-hand side, can you see on the right-hand side as we're looking at him, the policeman, Joe Bauer from the FIA, just making sure that like-for-like brake material.
Oh,
is
I did. I
sure
said
it
I
will
saw
be.
it. You got
But,
Lewis
yeah,
and
these
George.
mechanics are doing a great job working
That's so
very
sick.
steadily.
I did see
They know
that.
they're under pressure, but I think they'll get it done in time.
Thanks, Ted. Christian Horner's alongside me now. A nice moving tribute to Dietrich.
You should have asked
how's
for
it been
Toto.
since the sad news yesterday? What's the mood like today?
Yeah, look, it's been very emotional, but there's been an overriding
That's so cool.
pride, of who he
I wanna.
is, what he achieved.
I seen. Yeah,
what he did for all
were
of
you
us,
the one that
and,
mentioned that like
he wouldn't have wanted a
Leclerc
minute
and
silence,
Ferrari
that's
also
for
does
sure,
it
and
too?
that's why we played the music loud all morning.
Yeah, you can send it to
And,
Maranello
he
and
loved
stuff,
it,
and
he
I would
loved
love
his
to.
racing, He was passionate. He
I
gave
need to
so
do
many
that for
drivers
sure.
an opportunity, and the best tribute that we can do for him is to try and round out this Constructors' Championship.
That was a great atmosphere over at the garage with the Rolling Stones playing and you guys getting to wear jeans on the bottom or whatever you wanted. Is there something that Dietrich said to you
baby
that
Lance.
sticks with you right now that
Oh,
you're
speaking
thinking about
of,
as this race is
speak
about
of the
to start?
legend,
Well,
he's
there's many,
in
many things, but I
P7.
always
No, wait,
remember
where is he
his
right now?
story.
P5.
Fun.
Let's
That
go.
was how he lived his life. And,
Let's
look,
go.
he
Strollers
would have
rise
hated Black
up.
Armbands,
Someone
he
wake up
wouldn't want a minute
Tori.
silence. We've been knocking out the Rolling Stones all morning.
Stroller Nation, rise up.
He was a fan of their music, and he a very, very modest man, a very quiet man, but we owe him a great deal.
Best of luck today,
Thank you very much.
Christian.
Thank
Thanks for coming in and talking to us. Okay,
Yeah,
as we
exactly.
look ahead now, 10 minutes to go until lights out. What are we expecting today, Jensen?
A lot of action. I don't think it's just going to be between these two in the front either, but Carlos needs to be aggressive. Max has won the championship already, so Max is going to be aggressive. We know that. And then we've got the two Mercedes behind just waiting to pick up the pieces.
Oh yeah, Kuro's so funny. Was Kuro like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't join the watch along. I'm like, I know we can't join the watch along. Of course. Of course you can't watch. It's so funny if Kuro joined the watch. Can you imagine if Kuro actually joins the actual like Discord? He joined the Discord and it's like you hear the meow meow.
Red Riding.
That's dope. Lucky. Is that the Kyon Wims? It is, Ark. How are you?
But after
Are you still doing your stream, by the way? I don't know. I saw that. I woke up and I saw that you have your stream as well. I hope everything is okay. I don't know the details of it, but I really hope you're doing all right, bud. We love you. Also, you want me to hoot? I got this. Woo! I saw a what was it? What's his name? Oh, Trevor Wallace Wallace video, and he's all like, I'm a night owl. Who wants to fuck with me? I can't get that quote out of my mind.
Ready to go all out. In the all-new 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid electric vehicle.
Whoa, why am I getting ads in my stream? I'm not even getting ads with my ads.
Kids with autism sometimes are overlooked. It makes us
We are the
important
ads.
that she sees
You're gonna
it.
lose the start? Why are you gonna
Joanne
lose the start?
always has the brightest smile. She makes
Why?
everyone
Are you
home.
home? Quickly run! Run! Don't walk to your TV. Ads. We are the
She
ads.
talks to him directly, just making sure he's heard.
I'm
Makes
so
his day
tired
a lot
too. With
easier.
honestly,
could make them smile every day.
I've been awake since 7 yesterday. I think I've been awake since 7 p.m. yesterday, and all I've been doing is studying.
I've probably been asleep most of the time.
Yeah.
I've been awake the last 4 days just because I was like bedridden.
Yeah, no, I don't know why I do this to myself, y'all, but I literally just go between sleeping for like 14 hours at a time or then being awake 18 hours at a time or something like that. You can't hear Wims? Oh. It's because the Discord is so low, my bad. Maybe I forgot to adjust the Discord levels. Thanks for letting me know.
Oh my gosh. I turned on F1 TV to get away from ads, and they're having an ad right now.
Yeah, that sounds... Yeah, no, I mean...
All you have to do is hit the red button on your Sky
There we go.
or the button with the 4 colours on your Sky Glass remote and select Race Recap.
I'm better, but I'm not like 100%.
A timeline of events
They're
will appear
all
that you can
good.
navigate through, including the
like
starts,
95%.
overtakes, and all the crucial moments. So whether it's before, during, or after the race, Sky Sports F1 is the go-to destination
but
for all
everybody
the
was
best F1
posting
news,
thirst
views,
traps of
and
him
action.
on Twitter, and the thirst traps were like his side profile, and I was like,
Really good angle.
no, it wasn't even good.
Oh no.
He posted a picture of him and his,
I read
And the home
some things
of
online
the
about
circuit
people
of the Americas.
sort of ragging on him
This
and
place
calling
is
him
pretty
Max
unique,
Cost
and
Captain.
here's why.
what is that supposed to mean?
Oh my god, guys, we didn't get catering this morning. How come nobody thought to get us catering?
Shoot, let me look into my wallet and get... Let me look into my wallet and find 100k real quick, hold up.
Do you have some coins to spare,
They know how to put
please?
on a show.
Yeah.
Kaneko Racing would like to eat, please.
Speaking of Christian, where is it? I'm gonna stick for coins that involves Christian.
You do?
On Discord. Yeah. There it is.
Y'all ready for F1?
Where'd you post it?
It's in the chat for this channel.
Oh.
Bum, bum, ba-dum.
You look so crunchy.
I look crunchy?
No, she looks crunchy.
Oh. Oh, I love failed to qualify. I remember didn't what's it called? Wasn't that something that Martin Brundle used to once said to Christian like as like a payback or something? Oh gosh, I forgot what he said. I remember like Christian said something and then he retorted back with like, at least I know how to drive like fast enough to be in Formula 1.
Yeah.
I forgot how it went.
It was. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I
Yeah,
know.
Christian was slow when he raced.
Well, here we go then, in a place where it's all about the
Come on, set up
Longhorns.
100%,
Today it's all about the
107%
horsepower. Welcome to Austin and the
9 or 10
2022
I saw,
Formula 1 United
what's it
States
called?
Grand Prix. It is the 10th time that we have raced the Circuit of the Americas. It's round 19 in 2022 and the Constructors Championship could be settled today. So the Texas Longhorn and the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders could be cheering Red Bull if Ferrari don't outscore them by 19 points. It's happened once already this season, and that was was in Bahrain when the two Red Bulls didn't make it to the checkered flag. There's 53 laps to go before the checkered flag today around this 3.42-mile circuit. There are 20 corners, 11 to the left and 9 to the right. 6 braking events, 3 of which are described as heavy and a maximum speed of about 196 miles an hour as you approach turn 12 in the heavy braking zone there. At turn 1, well, there's always a chance for an overtake. 2021, this was Kimi Raikkonen and Fernando Alonso, world champions, battling away through turn 1 and down the hill into turn 2. Let's go towards that turn 12 now with Valtteri Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda and Lance Stroll. 3 of them all scrapping away. Valtteri Bottas was the man who won from pole in 2019, and he was involved in that scrap this time last year. Sebastian Vettel and George Russell. George Russell driving for Williams, of course, and Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin, showing that you can go round the outside as the lap progresses down at turn 18. There are plenty of places to try and get your overtakes done, certainly in that final sector. Tyres are going to be everything today. C4 the soft, we might not see many of those being used. C3 the medium, C2 the hard. It's protecting your front tyres, the key to a good race strategy today. And here is the starting grid then, with lots of drivers out of position because of penalties. Esteban Ocon, one of them, he starts in the pit lane, and Yuki Tsunoda, who took a late penalty for a new gearbox. Joe Guan Yu almost made it into Q3, had a lap deleted, starts 18th, and Nicholas Latifi just ahead of him. Mick Schumacher is 16th, Daniel Ricciardo, third Q1 knockout in 5 races, starts 15th. Car number 14 starts 14th, Fernando Alonso. Kevin Magnussen promoted up to 13th after being knocked out in Q1. It's Pierre Gasly 11th, and Charles Leclerc with a 10th-place penalty, who starts 12th for Ferrari. Sebastian Vettel into the top 10 for the second time in 2 races, alongside Sergio Perez, who takes a 5th-place penalty. Alex Albon moves up to 8th, and Valtteri Bottas, former pole sitter here, will start 7th for Alfa Romeo. Lance Stroll has his high start to the pole in Turkey in 2020. Lando Norris is 6th alongside him. Mercedes, 2 cars in the top 4 on the grid for the first time this season. Lewis Hamilton equals his best start of the year. Max Verstappen on the front row, and the driver starting second has led the first lap in 4 of the last 6 races here. And it is not car number 16, but car number 55, the Ferrari, that starts on pole.
Here's a question.
Who do you think is
actually
have had 4 wins in the past from 12th or lower on the grid. Can Charles Leclerc make that a 5th today? Sergio Perez is his
Max is so aggressive.
Away to the second championship. Max Verstappen is the world champion. Red Bull could be the Constructors' champions. But Martin Brundle, this race could be anyone's today.
I love these races when the Drivers' Championship has been decided, because it's gloves off. They're really out there driving for individual race victories.
How's that, Arc?
And they go for it. I've noticed that over the decades, they go harder, because there are no excuses. There are no playing the points game or going for safety, and it's great. So let's hope we can have some good wheel-to-wheel action out there this afternoon. So the first 12 start on medium compound tyres, and then I believe the first one on the hard compound is Kevin
how are we going to know?
Yeah, so Leclerc even on the medium. Nobody out there on the soft compound. So the vast majority.
Although I feel like it'd be fun to just sort of chill on the grass.
Medium compound, and the others on the hard tyre, which they only have 2 sets for an entire weekend. So they have very, very little information about them.
Sometimes I can click away, and then sometimes I can't. I don't know why.
As we start the formation lap, and we say thank you to Dietrich Mateschitz for his passion, his love of motorsports and all things Formula One, the man who invested in Sauber and then went on to buy not one, but 2 Formula One teams, Red Bull and Alpha Tauri. Sadly passed away yesterday at the age of 78. Formula One owes Dietrich Mateschitz a great debt. And boy, has that Red Bull team enjoyed themselves under his ownership in the last few years, and well, here to celebrate potentially a Constructors' Championship, a 5th Constructors' Championship today.
Let me see if I can just temporarily...
Pierre Gasly, one of many drivers who say we owe Dietrich Mateschitz a hell of a lot.
And they do, yeah, 8 of the 20 drivers on the grid. I'd say Red Bull played a fundamental or very important part of role in their Grand Prix career. And of course, many other drivers who are not on the grid today. There's Steve Buemi, John-Eric Byrne, the list goes on and on, who had a chance to come and show their talents. But Meanwhile, it's
That's
all
awesome.
eyes on what is a great racetrack. It really does work well. It's bumpy in places.
It's
the cars
awesome
move
to-
around. And
it's awesome that-
the tailwind and the crosswind element
literally,
that
it's
we
just so
talked
cool seeing
about
that every
through the
year
pre-show
that I've
is
been
going
watching
to be
the American
key.
Grand Prix has
And we
gotten
may
more
see
and
a
more
few
and more
errors
and
as
more popular,
drivers
and it's awesome.
throw the car into a
Just makes me
corner,
really happy.
trust that it'll stick.
And now we are
Going
this
into turn
close.
one,
We are
often
this
that
close to
inside
having an
line is the
American
best line. Lewis
driver.
Hamilton had it against Max Verstappen last year. Verstappen went on to win the race.
I've spoken into
You're talking about
existence.
drivers getting their
Let's
elbows
go.
out today. I think that top four are going to be supremely
gotta find my-
competitive to all try and get
I gotta
out of
find
turn
it,
one
but
in
somewhere,
front.
Yeah, as ever, to finish
somewhere
first,
somewhere in my
finish,
messages,
but
I swear.
There'll be, and they know that if they can gain a place or two up there, that's the easiest place to
I heard it was
overtake.
top 7.
On the opening corners of the lap, of course. Now, Sainz then, third time on pole, knows what to do now.
I'm gonna, after lap
the pack
1,
up, having
turn
warmed
on
everything
the
up
timing
nicely.
again,
As they come steaming out of turn 19.
leaving
Talking
it
of
off
warming
for right
things
now
up
so we don't
nicely,
spoil
Mercedes
ourselves.
had to change the brake material on Lewis Hamilton's car on the laps to the grid. He was complaining that they just weren't working the same. He's getting less friction on the left brake, so they changed that brake material. What has he had to do on this lap to get those brakes up
How
to
many
a
points are
standard
they
that he
behind?
needs for a race?
Well, he'll be working the pedal hard, and of course you can adjust the bias front to rear, but
Oh, that's actually
will
that's
put
actually a
a
lot
doubt
closer.
in his
yeah.
head, steaming up the hill there inside other cars as to whether he's going to have
I'll
the
literally
balance of the
do a
brakes, the
shoot on
retardation that he
stream.
needs. But
I'll literally
you're
just turn
right,
on
you
my
can,
wedge.
you can go up the inside, claim the corner, and then you've got to get around it and find some traction through the exit.
Yeah,
It is only
I'll do
a
a
short
shoot
dash
live
to
on
that first turn, 240 metres, but you can break that much later because it rises some 30 metres into the sky. And here comes Esteban Ocon
Lando
out
this
into
year
the
hasn't
sunshine.
impressed me as like
He
some
will start
kind of
from the pit lane, one of 6 drivers to get grid penalties in this race. It was a bad
his wet
qualifying
race
day for
is
him
fantastic,
yesterday, which is
actually.
why they changed his power unit. And you can see that breeze, the big flag down at turn 1. That is a tailwind going through the high-speed section. So could be a bit of a roller coaster ride. This could be like riding a bucking bronco around
his wet
53
racing is
laps. Let's see how we fare. We're all set for the 10th United States Grand Prix here at the Circuit of the Americas. We're in the Lone Star State, and it's lights out, and away we go. Verstappen getting away better, and
Russell
has
the
going into turn 1.
Russell
Verstappen's
has
ahead
it.
of Carlos
I feel-
Sainz, and then there's a lock-up from behind George Russell. Lewis Hamilton goes around the outside of Sainz. It's spun round and is tagged, and he's gone from pole to last
and
in the
it's
space of
happened.
1 corner.
Absolutely, the last
it's okay,
thing
you
he
can go to
needed,
bed
of
now,
course, to
Wins.
happen to him, and Verstappen then out front.
See you
Did
later.
somebody tag
Good
the
night,
back of
Wins.
him to just spin
Good night.
him around?
Good night, Wins. I'll
The
talk to you
Mercedes
next
were
week.
steaming in there,
I'll talk to you
racing
next
each other
week.
hard as well, but Sainz continues.
And Max
The-
Verstappen
the
continues
Carlos-
on his
the-
way then with
the
Lewis
Carlos Sainz
Hamilton and
experience.
behind him the crowd roaring away. There's Sergio Perez just ahead of Valtteri Bottas, who got compromised and now can get overtaken by Alex Albon.
Yeah, Bottas actually got shoved clean
someone
off
hit
the
the
racetrack
rewind
there.
button.
It's been noted by race control, causing a collision. Carlos Sainz, who tagged him, we'll have a look in a minute. Nicholas Latifi gets tagged coming out of turn 11. We can see Sergio Perez ahead of
I've been on
Pierre
the low,
Gasly.
I've been doing
Alex
that,
Albon going wheel to wheel with the Alfa
No, don't
Romeo.
worry,
Here
don't worry,
comes
he has a
Charles
puncture
Leclerc.
now.
Sainz says he thinks he's got a puncture.
It's
and
getting
there
even
is
better.
George Russell ahead of Sebastian Vettel. It could well be that George Russell was the man that hit Carlos Sainz right at the start. We'll see a replay in a moment.
Strollers rise up! He's over
Yes, both
Russell!
Mercedes were outbraking each other, locked up, sailing
Like, oh,
into
my
the
bad.
apex there. And of course, you're full of fuel. Your front tyres are not up to full temperature.
Yuki Tsunoda going off onto the grass and might be able to get ahead there of Mick Schumacher. The scraps down at the rear of the field. Tsunoda ahead then of Mick Schumacher, but out in front
we're rooting for
Verstappen
Lance
leads
Stroll.
Hamilton, leads Lance Stroll, who's up in the 3rd place. George Russell staying in 4th. Sebastian Vettel is 5th in his final US Grand Prix. A terrific start for him from 10th. But let's
I'm
see
amazed Russell
what
didn't
happened with
end
George Russell now and Carlos Sainz. Lewis Hamilton on the right-hand side. As
it's
he
just
then goes
that
in the
Max-
corner,
no,
Sainz came
Russell
across
just
George
punted him.
Russell. Who was at fault there?
Well, Carlos was
punted
taking
the
the
hell out of
racing
him.
line up there, and George
What the
trying
fuck?
to claim the apex, but he was all locked up.
So,
George hadn't.
I mean,
George Russell
I've
had
never
got
really
full
been an
control
incredible
of his
fan of
car
Russell, but we're now
at the
all
time.
turning on him, right?
Sainz was perfectly
Like,
within his
that's it.
right, under control.
They retired his
on
car.
the racing line. I think Russell will take a penalty for that.
And that is absolute heartbreak for Carlos Sainz, who is being pushed
Wow.
into the garage. Judge. It was his race, wasn't it, from pole for the taking,
Common
and it
Russell
lasted
out
round about
for
one
real, though,
corner.
that's just-
And for the second race running, by the end of the first lap, Carlos Sainz is absolutely out of it. That's heartbreaking for him. The stewards
most
have put that
ridiculous
incident
thing I've
under
ever seen.
investigation.
Yeah, if Carlos Sainz wasn't having bad luck at the moment, he'd be having no luck at all. That is
But I mean,
really unkind and unfair for
even
him.
before all, even before all of this, I genuinely don't understand.
You have to say,
Nice, let's go.
Okay,
Okay,
the pack quite
even
nicely.
And up into
even
ninth
without
place,
like the Russell
one
incident,
Ferrari
I don't
left on the
understand
track.
why does it feel
Carlos
like
Sainz,
being
that
in
is a
P2 is the better
sixth
position
DNF of the season.
in Coda.
Best up,
Like,
Sebastian Vettel,
having
5
that
places.
inside
Yuki
line.
Tsunoda, 5 places. Kevin Magnussen's dropped back
no, it's
5
inside
places.
at first. It's
Sadly for him,
inside
Valtteri
left-hander.
Bottas lost 4
Inside
places,
left-hander,
and already
inside.
Max Verstappen nearly 2 seconds out in the lead.
I don't know, it just
Lewis
felt
Hamilton
like
behind
Max
him,
had
and
an
Lance Stroll
advantage
running
the
in third place
whole way
for
through
Aston Martin for the
Q1.
second weekend running.
Okay, it
And
clearly
Lance
could be
Stroll
that, and
has
also
had
the
a
fact that
brilliant
Red
start.
Bulls and
Tends to be good, isn't he? Away from the line and
Space
managed to
shuttle.
navigate his way around the chaos that was the Mercedes. Almost 90 degrees, and it's a 5-second time penalty.
I can't wait
for
to
George Russell.
Koneko
causing
Racing
a
live
collision.
reporter.
And in a way, I think that that's relatively light.
Yeah.
In that, considering how much it's cost Sainz
Okay, so
and Ferrari.
Yeah, he's out of the race. George Russell
how
will have
are
5
we
seconds
gonna
added
speak
at
a
his first
Lance
pit
Stroll
stop where they
victory
can't
into
work on the
existence?
car. They have to wait 5 seconds and then they can get going and changing his tyres. But that might still cost George Russell quite a few places, although the way the field
retired
is spreading out,
Yeah, they
Martin,
retired him.
you
It was
add
super
5
obvious.
seconds.
It was
he's not
super
gonna
obvious
come
that
into
he
the pits
retired.
just yet.
Haven't
He'd come out behind, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon territory, so that wouldn't really be that much of a penalty.
As if that was
they'll
not in
stretch that out,
question
won't they,
already.
Before they're thinking they want to eat these tyres out now. It's a 2-stop race we're expecting. But what George Russell will need to do is clear his head on that one and make sure that it doesn't then distract him for the rest of the race. He's confident enough, good enough to do that. Otherwise, you start tormenting yourself when you pick up an early penalty. But obviously not as tormented as Sainz in the pits.
The Williams of Alex Albon going off the track, came back on, cut right in front
That's
of
just-
Valtteri Bottas in that
I
Alfa
feel like-
Romeo. Bottas is
I
all
feel
over
like
the rear
in the
wing of
last
Alex Albon. He's having a torrid
5
time out
years that
there,
I've watched
trying to find
Formula
some
1,
grip on the
I
track.
genuinely
He's
don't know
struggling,
if I could think
with
of
his
a more
tyres
miserable
already.
experience
It's a
than
real
being
test
a
for
2022
tyre
Ferrari
management
fan.
this afternoon to try
I
and
don't.
get speed.
I really don't.
and keep
I
the grip
really.
alive
I
on
really
those tyres.
don't
And
think
Alex
I'm
Albon seems to be
exaggerating.
struggling a
I
bit
don't
more
think
than
I'm
most.
exaggerating when
Behind
I
these
say
two,
I think
Fernando
this is
Alonso
like the most
disappearing off
miserable
to downtown Austin,
experience
through that
for
corner
a
19.
specific team
He'll get
fan.
a warning for that. You're not allowed
In the
to
last
keep running
5
off
years.
the track as Perez then having a look up the
No, because you
inside
have no
of
expectations.
Sebastian Vettel, but
Like,
Aston Martin really working well
this
around
is just.
here.
It has
This
been
is
working
just
well all
so
weekend
dumb.
long, so no
This is-
surprises to see them doing well, but 3rd and 5th, and we're on lap 4. I would imagine that's beyond the wildest dreams
What's the-
of Lawrence Stroll. So we can
Wow,
have a
look at that
from the
start
helicopter
by
shot now. Brilliant
Verstappen.
start
He didn't
from
even. It
Sebastian
wasn't
Vettel,
even.
put his car
It
in the
wasn't
right
even
place, took
T1. It
advantage
was
of
the
lockup from
first
the Williams. There's the tag. George
200
Russell
meters.
on Carlos Sainz going round the outside. Lance Stroll says, "Thank you very much. I'll have
first
a couple
200
of places."
meters.
Yeah, that was absolutely a clear penalty.
Look
but
at that.
It's a great
Carlos
start.
Sainz
Look
getting
at it.
too much wheel
That's
spin.
that's
all
so
through the
unfair.
first
Max
and
is playing on
second phase of the
20%
start.
AI level, and
Realizes
it's-
he can't
and I'm
get
not.
left, and then wants to have a nice wide run, and it hesitates a little bit,
Awful
doesn't
start,
he? Has
but
to get
Russell
out the
had
throttle,
no-
does Sainz, and at that point,
I don't know.
that's where George Russell.
Where's Kuro? Kuro,
you
Kuro,
do
where are
make
you?
allowances.
I think Charles Leclerc gets compromised here as well. He loses
Can you hear the
places in
screams?
that chain reaction.
Can you hear
A
the
brilliant
screams?
reaction from Lewis Hamilton to go to the right of the
That was
spinning
visceral.
Carlos Sainz before he got hit by the Ferrari. So lightning reactions by Lewis Hamilton protecting him, and well, sadly in the Carlos Sainz camp, utter disappointment.
OBBG
Let's look at the
star, thank
start
you so
from
much
Lando
for the
Norris's
follow.
McLaren.
Welcome to the misery.
God damn it, I was rooting.
Oh wait, I gotta remember if anyone.
Under braking.
And if I have to witness this in person, I'm just gonna,
There's an element here of it's the first
I'll buy
corner
you.
of the
I'll
first
buy you
lap, and I
enough
think
drinks.
that's been
No, I'll buy
applied
you
also
enough
to the
drinks to
penalty
forget it.
that George Russell has taken there in terms of limiting that penalty. But I'm going to
Why-
assume
I
that's
should
what
just start
damaged
playing.
the,
I should literally just start.
transmission in some way, plus the aerodynamics there.
I gotta start
of
playing
the
like
Ferrari.
the
I'd like to
Logic.
see it from
I gotta play the
Sainz's point of view,
1-800
because
song from
he
Logic.
did hesitate.
Have that
He
on
sort
the
of-
ready.
He cut back in a little bit, although there was space on the inside of him. and almost as if he just couldn't get the car up and running again.
Look, I'm just
We're
saying,
running on board
you
with
know,
George Russell, the car ahead of him is Lance Stroll. Russell's within DRS range
right now.
of the Aston Martin. Behind Russell now,
2.3.
Sergio Perez, who's managed to get past Sebastian Vettel while we were watching those replays. Perez made up another place. Nicholas Latifi seems to be tumbling down the order a little bit. Has he had something of an off as we head onto the back straight with George Russell? And George Russell has DRS that will be operational, and he's gaining, and he's gaining, and he's gaining on Lance Stroll. I don't think Lance Stroll's going to fight this one, because I think the Mercedes has just too much pace with that extra 17 kilometers an hour worth of boost with the DRS. And George Russell is up into third place with a 5-second penalty coming his way at his first pit stop. Ted Kravitz, good afternoon to you.
Howdy, Crofty. Yes, I've got news from Ferrari where they had to retire Carlos's car due to a water leak. So actually, I mean, I know they like steaks around here in Texas, but that was a bit of a T-bone, wasn't it, into the Ferrari from George Russell, and it damaged the radiator.
Did I see Did I see Perez's wing damage?
With Russell's Mercedes.
It makes it really quickly. It's very gusty.
Like, it's Perez. What do you expect?
I just didn't see anything happen. Like,
do we have a bit of damage on Sergio Perez's front wing end plate? We do. That's not the
what happened to it?
I saw it earlier on and took myself out of the fact that the Red Bull got a damaged front wing, but judging by what's happened to Kevin Magnussen on 3 occasions, the stewards will probably call that in and make him change that.
Yeah, it will be an early pit stop to do that. This is Sergio Perez and his move on Sebastian Vettel. If it is flapping away, it's not hurting the pace of the Red Bull. I wondered what was happening to Nicholas Latifi as he started tumbling down the order, and that is the reason why a spin where Antonio Giovinazzi had his
is that actually what we're talking about?
Or
are you just using that?
And unlike Antonio Giovinazzi keeping out of the barriers, the Williams crew have service
but he's still one Monaco.
in and out. So first pit stop of the weekend for Nicholas Latifi. Carlos Sainz is out of the race, and here comes Sergio Perez,
and there goes
the
wing.
His front wing end plate. You saw it move over to the right-hand side as he moves past Sebastian Vettel. Past Lance Stroll. So Perez up into 4th place, but now severely compromised with that front wing end plate disappearing.
Oh shit! I didn't see it at
all.
all.
Compromised though that being called in for a mandatory pit stop to change the front wing, which takes a good dozen seconds to do. So if he can now manage the balance of the car,
are all going to eat. Y'all are going to eat crow when we hear about the new Indy 500 winner.
He'll slide, get more and more understeer. Then you start to struggle to slow down. You start locking tires in the braking zone as well. So let's see what kind of pace Perez has got. So it looks to me as if it's a straight fight now between Russell and Perez for what could be the final place on the podium.
It can't get worse than Jimmy Johnson. It literally cannot. Like, God bless his soul,
we talk
but
about tire management,
probably NASCAR's
down to the last
stick with that
before this race really starts to unravel. Making the best of it so far, Charles Leclerc lost places at the start, but he's
didn't he score points though?
Gasly and
hey, he scored points that weekend.
And out in front, 2.5 seconds. The gap between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. It's like just gone back 12 months. Verstappen's leading, Hamilton's in second. An awful lot has happened since.
Yeah, but Lewis Hamilton was 3/10 faster. Good quarter of a second faster.
It's the middle of my day, but I'm
on the
so tired because I have
so,
a horrible sleep schedule.
Just get a bit of an action.
I've been awake since 7 yesterday.
So Verstappen leads 2.5 seconds there or thereabouts from Lewis Hamilton. George Russell with a 5-second penalty to come at his pit stop.
He's
currently running in 3rd place. Sergio Perez runs 4th, and he might have a longer pit stop if he has to change his front wing. Here goes Pierre Gasly on the McLaren of Lando Norris. That looked rather easy with DRS. Is it the old switcheroo though, with Lando Norris trying to get him back through the next corner? Not quite, and there is Valtteri Bottas just hanging back, waiting to feed off whatever scraps might be coming his way, whilst we watch Lando Norris trying to get back ahead of the AlphaTauri.
Do you remember this year?
Zach
Do you remember this season? I don't remember which race it was, but the McLaren cars were like fantastic and super
but I'm sure you don't
racy
love the fact that your man is behind the AlphaTauri at the moment.
And we were like, hey, Hey.
No, it's you know, excited here to be in Austin, but yeah, we seem to be slipping a little bit backwards here. He got caught out at the start when Carlos spun, so let's see if we can recover here.
But your battle is with Alpine really today, isn't it? And so far looking an awful lot better for you than it's looking for Alpine in that battle for fourth in the championship.
Yeah, long way to go, but we're in the points now, not too many points, and looks like we got Botas on us pretty hard, so hopefully we can get a little bit further up the grid.
You've driven the track this weekend. Have you given the drivers any advice? As we see Sergio Perez banging wheels up there. You told Lando and Daniel how to drive this track?
I told them to go a lot faster than me. They said that was going to be easy. That was offensive.
Did you? You seem to be out there for about 20 laps this morning, Zach. You obviously chose not. Did they not show you a checkered flag or a red light?
No, I thought it was funny. I was out there and thinking, I hope this red comes on soon. I'm going to look like a wimp if I come in before they do. And then I thought it was broken for a second.
I hope the neck's okay. We'll be back with you in a little while. Sergio Perez getting closer to George Russell.
And George Russell, unsurprisingly, has got a bit of damage, hasn't he, on the right?
I can see it too, yeah.
Corner of his front wing, where he effectively T-boned, as Ted said, into the side of the Ferrari. But it looks like it's
obliterated any smidgen of a chance of a Ferrari.
As I said, they can't now.
Even though, to be fair,
but when you saw that take off down the back straight, you can understand why they do that, because it's a blade of carbon fiber at a couple of 100 miles an hour.
That's right. And, North American. We've got to think the champion of North America.
Marshals and corner workers. You've got to think of the fans out there first. Well, only.
It's either that or Stroll.
Them. In terms of that safety aspect, but of course also parts flying back to the driver behind you.
You're right, I'll take Stroll
too. So Sergio Perez, I wouldn't say content to be behind George Russell currently. He's got pace, and increased pace ahead of that Mercedes in front.
Someone show wins the Lance Stroll
6 miles an hour difference between Max Verstappen and the Mercedes when we had qualifying yesterday.
Like the one where he flipped into the air like 5 million times.
Will be getting closer to that Mercedes, but it lived with the Mercedes through corners such as this.
Have you seen the context of that weekend? Apparently that weekend was like one of the most cursed F3.
He is able to run that much closer with these new regulations. We can also watch Lando Norris in pursuit of Pierre Gasly ahead of Gasly. Charles Leclerc gaining a little on Sebastian.
That deserves a rewatch.
Yeah, we saw Leclerc earlier on.
That deserves a
struggling
rewatch.
We should sliding around a bit.
We should watch
stalled
that
out,
one.
hasn't he? I mean, it's 21 seconds for a pit stop. Leclerc in P7 is almost a pit stop behind the leaders now. So he's not making the progress. He's tucked up in behind the two Aston Martins that we expected.
Well, let's get some more info on him. Ted Kravitz.
Yeah, just talking about Charles Leclerc. I've been tracking his lap times, Martin, and he is able to do the kind of lap time that Max Verstappen has just done. So something like a 1:42.8, something like that. But then he gets in the dirty air of Sebastian Vettel in front of him, the Aston Martin, and that gap has not been below a second. But Leclerc has not been able to break a second gap to Sebastian Vettel ahead of him in the Aston Martin.
2 seconds, Ted.
Anytime, like, because these
Lewis Hamilton talking about tyres already. We're only on lap 10.
Yeah, but he's been giving it some, hasn't he, Lewis Hamilton? And Max Verstappen's engineer has been keeping him up to date with Hamilton's progress. They do see a threat from Hamilton today. Make no mistake about that. With Charles Leclerc becalmed slightly behind the Aston Martin, they're taking the threat of Mercedes seriously at Red Bull.
Sebastian Vettel can actually play a really important role here for his teammate Lance Stroll by trying to protect him from Charles Leclerc for that little bit longer. Leclerc's now got within that magic second, Martin.
Yeah, the two Aston Martins can drag each other along a little bit like Pete Gasly's doing there. It must be like being in the Tour de France out front. The two cars behind him are opening their rear wings.
I keep on watching the freaking...
When you've got them open in all the zones around here. He's pushing a hole in the
watching
air
the Tennessee
in the AlphaTauri,
the Music City
and then
Grand Prix.
directly behind him, of course.
And I don't know why I do it to myself, because it's always a mess every single time.
Wasn't he, in the
2 years in a row,
lap or two?
it was like at least like 20 to...
And you know, it was Perez that ran into the side of him.
On board with Lando Norris, Pierre Gasly, the car ahead. Norris has got that.
I don't know. I don't remember what it was. They wanted it to run across the bridge because they wouldn't stop shutting up about being like, look, they're driving over a bridge. I'm like, I don't care.
I think all the drivers are struggling quite a bit with the winds today. It is gusting, it is quite severe. Verstappen leads from Hamilton. You know, I said it was like going back 12 months. It's a bit more like going back 12 months. We hear Lewis Hamilton talking about his tyres starting to suffer a little bit. Then he goes and bangs in the fastest first sector we've had so far.
Well, we've heard this before from Lewis, haven't we? He's very crafty and very clever.
They're saying we get the new track. Does that mean?
What he's saying?
Does that mean we get a new layout?
As Bottas pits, an undercut will be powerful here, and that might well be a smart move to get him past Gasly.
As Daniel Ricciardo gets ahead of Mick Schumacher, and Esteban Ocon does the same thing. Another pit stop, second of this race. Sonoda's coming in, Ricciardo is now coming in too. So the undercut, stop before the car ahead of you stops. Use those fresh tyres. Warm-up's not a problem here today, we're told. To bang in a really good lap time and get ahead. But you don't want to stop too early because you'll suffer at the end of your stint.
A delay there, didn't there, before Valtteri was released from the pit stop. Looked good. Just a bit of a delay before he actually got
Didn't he come back one time?
And just onto the track behind the Williams of Alex Albon comes Yuki Tsunoda.
I remember like
a decent stop of 2.3 seconds for him.
I think it's too legendary.
Here comes Charles Leclerc behind Sebastian Vettel. DRS for the Ferrari down the back straight. You can see Lance Stroll ahead in one Aston Martin. Is he going to have his teammate behind him at the end of this lap? Well, looks like Sebastian Vettel is fending off Charles Leclerc for the time being, but look how deep into that corner
it was like
Sebastian Vettel went.
I think it was like at least 2 years ago or something like that.
Okay.
That was a while ago, actually.
Although out in front, Max Verstappen's tyres seem to be a bit more okay, because lap after lap after lap he's increasing his advantage. Now 4.5 seconds out in front.
He's really increased it a lot lately, hasn't he? So obviously concerned by the windy conditions, but managing it. It's just every so often you'll get a nasty surprise. Obviously you're generating a lot of downforce, pushing these cars through the air. That's what the wings and the under tray and all the bits and pieces hanging off them do, but if suddenly you've got a wind coming from the side or the back, they're heavily affected.
Just mind that single bump on the run down to turn 12, try to stay right.
And while we hear that message and ride on board with the Ferrari, into the pits comes Pierre Gasly. Now, we saw Valtteri Bottas trying to pull off the undercut. Bottas is making his way down the pit straight currently, 80 kilometers an hour. Gasly can now release that AlphaTauri. Here comes Valtteri Bottas. That little extra delay in the pit stop seems to have cost him a bit of a place there.
Yeah, it was a better stop for AlphaTauri, and somehow they just didn't seem to release Valtteri, or he wasn't able to drop the clutch.
It's a fun circuit, but it's
really get the feeling Sebastian Vettel's struggling for grip out there because he's going deeper into the corners, and this has given Charles Leclerc all the impetus he needs to use DRS and try and get himself past the former Ferrari driver Sebastian Vettel. Now in the green of Aston Martin, Leclerc has made up another place.
It's hammer time.
And up in the sixth. No, we have not. It really is like going back to the 2021 season. Hammer time now for Lewis Hamilton. Pit stop.
Does anyone follow MotoGP?
Yeah,
How does MotoGP
on the previous lap? He's 4.7 seconds. Now 5 seconds behind, as you can see for yourself on the screen. I don't know. It needs to be a big hammer.
Hamilton is into the pits, as you can see. Medium tyres off. Hard tyres on. Lewis Hamilton has 2 new sets of hard compound tyres, as do a lot of drivers. The hard tyre, I think, is going to be the favoured race tyre here, because we can see those mediums going off already after, what, 12, 13 laps of this race so far. Not the quickest pit stop there for Lewis Hamilton. Where's he going to come out onto the racetrack behind Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin? But crucially, I think, for them ahead of Lando Norris and the McLaren.
Yeah, and Norris, McLaren have gone a different way. They haven't pitted him to react to Gasly and Bottas to their stop. So Norris is trying to do his own version of hammer time, Lando time.
So it's Max Verstappen from George Russell.
What do you want me to do? Free to push.
They can bring him in. The undercut probably won't work because Max Verstappen was nearly 5 seconds or over 5 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton, so he can really go for it if he needs to.
Yeah, he's asking that question because the Mercedes just disappeared out of his mirrors, and he's like, what are we up to down there?
Sergio Perez has George Russell
One second.
in his sights. If he can
One
get
second,
past
Aki. 1 second,
Mercedes,
Aki. We're
it's a
here
1-2
in
at the moment for
Kuro.
Red Bull, but let's head down to 10.
But this is crucial.
Let's
I mean,
head-
George Russell, if you want to call it
Let's
holding
head
up
down to
Sergio
Kuro.
Perez, that's probably fair to say, is really helping Lewis Hamilton ahead. And that's really something that Mercedes will want to keep an eye on. But I know what you're thinking out there. Oh, I see, Lewis Hamilton onto the hard tyre. Could he go to the end? Well, no. The tyre just won't make it. It is lap 12, 13.
Well, Lewis
and we are seeing it
pitted.
earlier, aren't we,
He hasn't
Crofty? We weren't
pitted.
expecting the pit window to open before lap 15 at the earliest. But here we go, Max Verstappen in.
Jesus Christ.
Max Verstappen in and out, 2.6 seconds stationary,
fair,
and
that's
George
crazy.
Russell is coming down the pit lane. You can see him right in the distance to make his stop, and this will be a bit slower for Russell because he's got a
Jordan.
5-second penalty. Held there for 5 seconds before they can then get to work, changing those medium tyres for the hard compound tyre. Out onto the track comes Verstappen,
How
and
was
is he
your
ahead
stream?
just
Let me do a
of
shout out
Lance
for you.
Stroll in the Aston Martin, but Stroll is now going to try and fight him. Going down the hill, Verstappen's having none of that, slams the door shut.
Shout out for
Well,
Jordan.
touch and go, wasn't it? That's worked out well for Red Bull, but they needed a 2.6 second stop to make that one really pay off. But now he'll take off.
Sergio Perez is taking off. He's out in front
I
on
thought
his
you were
own at
dead,
the
I'm
moment.
not gonna
He
lie to
has
you.
not pitted, and he's just set the fastest first sector of the race so far. Perez
Yeah,
leads
just
from
put him
Verstappen,
down, there's
and
a
then
race
comes
going
Stroll,
on.
who hasn't
I
pitted
turn off-
yet. Charles Leclerc, who's now up to 4th, and he's on the mediums that he started this race with too. Sebastian
like
Vettel
it.
and Lewis Hamilton, who has stopped. Hamilton onto the hard compound tyre, as they all are after making their first pit stops. And well, after getting past Sebastian Vettel down the back straight, here comes Charles Leclerc, having a little look at Lance Stroll. That Ferrari
I'd buy
keeping
it.
his tyres working nicely. He's got the pace to get past Lance Stroll, and once again, I don't think the Aston Martin fighting the Ferrari too hard.
No, there's no point in losing too much time over Leclerc. He'll be through at some point in that car with his speed. But he's now a pit stop behind the leaders, and he's really taken a little bit out of this race, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Effectively losing the two Ferraris from up front,
Wins.
one with a penalty and one with a shunt.
And also losing one of the Mercedes to a 5-second penalty. Will Sergio Perez
Mind if I
have to
join
change
AC?
that
Of
front
course,
wing
you're
when he
always
comes
free
in
to
for his
join
pit
AC.
stop? We're about to find out. The end plate has disappeared. So Sergio Perez is going to stop right now, and they get to work. They did not need to change that front wing. Obviously, they're happy with the pace and the tyre wear as well.
Yeah, and he'll overcut George Russell because of the penalty, so that is why they didn't want to risk. You know, he's getting along just fine without the front wing end fence, so that works very nicely.
It's another cracking pit stop for Sergio
F1
Perez.
is a
You know, I think
problem.
he's had the fastest 4 pit stops in 2022, and that was a 2.1 second stationary. Well done, McLaren.
Wait.
2.4 seconds for Lando Norris. I
Aki,
wonder
are
if
you
he
still
stops on
getting
his
a
marks,
black screen?
where
Or-
the mechanics say that is the ideal place to stop, a little better than some others.
Oh, they practice it, they video it from the top, they practice
You're
it
free to talk as
relentlessly
well,
because,
Jordan, if you'd like.
you know, they're sitting there with wheel guns that would break your wrists, basically. You just picked them up and pressed the trigger. And you don't want
They
those
showed
wheel
Albert
gun
Park
people to have to
V8,
just shuffle slightly.
and usually
they need to
all
go
the
straight on at
development
90
series.
degrees with confidence. Bang, bang, out the car goes.
Bouncing along over the bumps, Lewis Hamilton currently running in 5th place in his Mercedes. Ahead of him, Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll. Aston
Next
Martin
year,
running
I'm
in the
gonna,
top
what's it
3
called?
for
I'm
the
gonna
first
buy
time this season.
an
Hamilton
F1
saying the tyres
TV full
don't feel too
subscription.
great. That's how
Because
he
I saw
feels at the
someone
moment.
made a
Laps time,
program
he might set
that's even
fastest lap
better
of the
than
race, you
it
never
still
know.
uses the
With the way
F1
the Mercedes
stream,
takes
F1
a bit
TV
of time
streams, but it's like an
to bring
actual
those tyres up to temperature
really like
and
well-made
to get
program
into the
where you
working
can
window. Ahead of Lance Stroll, Charles Leclerc,
yeah, build your custom
and,
view. It looks awesome.
Max Verstappen out
I really
in
wanna-
front on the hard tyre and going well.
I saw it on
Into
Reddit,
the
and I don't know
pits,
if I
think.
have the link
You're
anymore,
going to see
but I'll
an
try to
Aston
find it.
Martin as the crew come out, and it is Lance Stroll. Let's throw down to Ted. He's right down there. Ted.
How do you know,
Lance
Crofty? I'm
Stroll-
right here, so let's take a look right in front
Yeah,
of me.
that's right.
It's the medium tyre going on, so having that's slow.
No,
That's
it's
a little bit slow on the rear there for Aston Martin and for Lance Stroll. But having had good tyre wear, going longer than most, they've decided to stay with the medium
I
tyre.
just
So
don't understand
they're making these
where-
tyres
where's
well
Red Bull
today,
bad
Aston
at?
Martin.
Oh,
that bodes well. So
budgeting.
Hamilton, has he cleared Vettel now? I think he has, Crofty, and
Yes,
that's
he has.
crucial for his race strategy.
as Lance Stroll comes out behind his teammate for next season, Fernando Alonso. This is what's just happened to his teammate this season, Lewis Hamilton getting past Sebastian Vettel and into turn 1.
I wonder what the pace is with the
has
hards.
just set the fastest first sector once again of the race.
Back
As
already
Lewis Hamilton,
to
Fernando
P3.
Alonso, you can see right up there in
Hamilton
7th
already
place
back
at the
into
moment. He
P3,
hasn't
but
pitted yet.
effective
His
P2.
teammate Esteban Ocon also hasn't pitted yet.
Hamilton's
he started
effective
on the
P2.
hard compound tyre
Leclerc's-
from the pit lane.
George Russell was behind Alonso, Fernando Alonso, for a little while there, that further compromised his position until he got through.
I wonder if the Mercedes have any
Russell
advantage
now then
going with
can
the
get back on. He served his
the
penalty.
hards,
Now
but
that's
I don't
he's paid that check, and he can see what he can do from here on.
think
But
it lasts up to
Aston
like-
Martin scrubbed a number of sets of the medium compound tyre.
run it for around
And
15.
nearly rubbing tyre to tyre. Esteban Ocon, and behind him, Mick Schumacher. Esteban Ocon up into 9th place. And you can just see how the wind is unsettling these cars as they try to get back to the line they want and then get caught by some sort of errant gust.
Yeah, Esteban Ocon, I think he's one of the most aggressive drivers on the track, and I don't say that in a negative way. And this is where George Russell managed to clear, of course. Fernando Alonso hasn't pitted for tyres yet. Gets it slowed down, rotate, just about made the apex, but there's plenty of space on the outside. And that was a key overtake for Russell's recovery drive.
So, first round of pit stops for the front two sees Max Verstappen 6.4 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton, who was the man behind him when he pitted. And going through the strategy alphabet, we're on to Plan E at Ferrari. Let's go to race control.
Plan
Anthony
E,
Davidson,
consider
good
question.
Afternoon, Crofty, Martin, and everyone at home watching this one. So Max Verstappen has been told to just ease these tyres in. Well, he was told immediately when he put those new tyres on, because he had that luxury, of course,
is Plan
of
E
Lewis being
explode
stuck
engine?
behind the traffic. Now he's cleared the traffic, expect his lap times to improve. Lewis is pushing on, he's just on his personal best, but that really, I feel like that really did hurt Mercedes in coming out behind that gaggle of cars.
Yes, you want to find a window, Martin, and a window that ideally pits you into
Wait, Kuno's spoiling!
What are your thoughts on this compound?
Nothing special so far. I mean, doesn't feel
Kuro, you're spoiling it!
Understood.
Kuro, you're on track
On his
spoiling!
Christmas list, as it said, of hard compound tyres, but obviously there's been some kind of incident between Lance Stroll and Mick Schumacher that's been noted. For one of them forcing the other off the track, and already Alex Albon, just 18 laps into the race, has had the black and white warning flag for track limits. So another one of those, and he'll take a 5-second penalty.
Let's just have a little look now at Pierre Gasly and Kevin Magnussen. That's the favourite overtake, isn't it? End of that long back straight. Gasly with the tribute helmet for Texas this weekend. 4 more races to go at AlphaTauri. And trying to get himself near the points now. Bottas had a bit of a moment in the final sector. He might well have done and had a little bit of a spin at turn 19. That's why you can see some yellow flags being thrown.
If he spun there, then he will have flat spotted the tyres quite badly, because it's super quick through there.
Remember when people were going to say, I hope Bottas
he's very much spun there.
Spun and beached for Valtteri Bottas, turn 19.
Ooh, safety
at 120
car.
miles an hour. And will this be a safety car? Yes, it will be a safety car. The safety car has been deployed. Now this could really help Charles Leclerc as we watch Valtteri Bottas.
Just lost the back end. Okay, copy.
And he's beached.
Lost the back end. Now Charles Leclerc is not far away from finishing the lap here. He's not pitted yet. There's a cheap pit
Let's
stop.
go! Aston Martin in first
Yeah,
place!
you lose about 11 seconds when you pit under safety car conditions instead of the full 21. Plays beautifully into his hands, but they had to call a safety car there. It's such an unsighted, fast part of the lap.
Why is it all parked up?
And they will pick up Max Verstappen and helps Lewis Hamilton out as well, doesn't it, to get back up to Verstappen as
I've actually never seen the safety car just like parked up before.
Gran, it's down to you.
Yeah, for Ferrari, it's Plan E. Plan E. This is lucky
Wait
for
a
us,
minute.
isn't it? We got a safety car and a very cheap
Wait a
pit
minute.
stop. So this is just a bit of luck that
How much of
Ferrari
an
needed
advantage
today.
does
Charles Leclerc comes
Leclerc
out clears nicely Sebastian Vettel, who's also going to luck in to a cheap pit stop.
How much of an advantage does Leclerc have with
nice
that cheap pit stop?
And the other person who's going to luck into this is Fernando Alonso. He's made those hard tyres last very well in the opening stint. He's now going to pit for a cheap pit stop under the safety car as well.
Charles Leclerc comes out in 4th place. Sebastian Vettel comes out in 6th place. I would say that's plan F for Ferrari. Fabulous.
Yeah, it's worked out an absolute treat for them, hasn't it? And of course, why it's a cheap pit stop is you're trundling down the pit lane. Meanwhile, your rivals have had to knock the speed back by 40%, and they have what they call a delta. Where they've got to really control their speed at the next point of arrival.
What it also does, of course, is it concertinas the field together, and we can expect a few more closer laps of racing, because it was getting a little bit strung out.
So this is new after the very serious incident, obviously in Japan. We're now everybody's being told recovery vehicle on track at turn 19. And teams, of course, are obliged to tell their
get out of
drivers
here.
that. Some drivers in Japan, you know, went past that truck twice, like Fernando Alonso, and never knew it was there.
Because it was so murky and the rain was so hard.
It was only after the race or later on when they realised they'd passed a vehicle on track. That shows you how scary that was.
The FIA saying
I'll say it right now. I'll say it right now. I'm glad Russell lost Bahrain.
He's behind the safety car in future as we look at the start once again.
Yeah, now when Carlos Sainz watches this, I mean, he's realised he's got to take a wide line. He cuts back in hard and then sort of hesitates almost on the top of the hill there. I think when he sees that, he'll realise he's got to be calmer. When you start moving around too much like that, it wasn't his fault, of course. He's left space on the inside, but cutting back hard like that, cutting back hard like that increases your risk. It's like being on the road, though, isn't it?
Avoidable too.
Yeah. So
honest.
Yeah. So Sainz had to get out. I've been waiting to see that. So Sainz got right up underneath the back. I wanted to see that on board. He had to hesitate.
That was super
and
easy
he left
to avoid.
space. But it's almost, you know, it's like being on the road. There's no point in having to go, but it wasn't my fault if you could have avoided it. I'm not laying, you know, I'm just saying Carlos was moving around a lot. He was on the racing line. It wasn't his fault, but you've got to make sure people don't run into you as much as you don't run into them, is the point I'm trying to make.
All of which is not the easiest thing to do at the start of a race where 20 cars are trying to occupy the same piece of track. We have a safety car for the first time in Austin since 2015. If you're just joining us for this US Grand Prix and you want to watch highlights of the action so far, you can do. Sky Q and Sky Glass customers, press your red button. You can watch it alongside the live action, and I'm not expecting the safety car to be out for too much longer. They're very, very quick, the marshals here, at getting rid of the recovery vehicles. Normally average about 3 laps for anything.
Oh no, not the drone cam. These are awful.
Shot and Bernd Mailander leading the cars down.
Stop trying to make that work.
Let's head to Sky Race Control, Anthony Davidson.
Oh God, I know.
Yes, so Crofty mentioned earlier on that they're looking into between Mick Schumacher and Lance Stroll. I've just had a look actually from Mick Schumacher's onboard, and it's when Stroll comes out the pits. He gets ran out of road a little bit on the exit of turn 1 off the track, but I honestly don't think Stroll will get a penalty for it. It looked just like Mick was trying to drive around the outside and ended up driving off the track almost by himself. He got a bit close. It was almost like he was filling a closing gap.
Wait, why have a drone?
He was on the racing line, so I don't think that would be a penalty.
The guidelines that the FIA set down.
That's why I'm saying. Wouldn't it make more sense when we have another flying vehicle that could record cameras, like, I don't know, helicopters like we've already been doing?
Good report, by the way, today. Yeah, your back catalogue of Green Day served you well. Out there.
Is he in the tower?
Good to see. We went through all the musical genres today. I was going to say, the FIA guidelines, if you are ahead going into the corner,
I know they do for some
corner. And if you're trying to go around the outside, you've really got no right to room round there because you were never ahead. No further investigation, say the stewards, who might well have been listening to our man at race control this afternoon. So yeah, as it stands at the moment, with a long way to go here, Red Bull will be Constructors champions. Ferrari have to outscore them by 19 points for Red Bull not to be Constructors champions here. So I think that means that Charles Leclerc has to win this race, and Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez hardly score anything at all. And that is not.
I know. I was about to say that's how I know.
Yeah,
like
sure
that's someone's an indie
front wing
NASCAR fan when they call it pace car.
As the safety car is in this lap, needed a safety car, as it were.
That big ass
lockup on the inside.
Big ass lockup from Albon.
You've always got to be ready to drive off the track there in turn 1.
Yeah. Crowd roaring the
me? It was me. That's
big section. That's the moment where Sergio Perez lost a bit of his front wing, or started to damage his front wing. That tap with the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. That's the bit where it came off, is it?
Yeah, but the Sergio Perez was so much faster through there. Bottas a touch cautious.
Although I will say,
front axle.
I will say that race did make me very sad. That race basically actually decided.
Red Bull, of course, those end plates are there for a reason.
That's actually like that was the decider.
They're very good at deflecting air.
That's one of the deciding factors of that championship.
He will
and
be
really
suffering from some loss in pace. So I was looking at his lap times before the safety car. And actually, he's doing a great job recompensing for that lack in downforce after losing that end plate, Sergio Perez. But yeah, he's going to be closing up on Hamilton. Let's see how that fight goes. And as for Lando Norris, well, as for McLaren too, the worst has happened, and it's Alonso with the Alpine, the battle that they're in with the Constructors' Championship ahead of him now.
Coda's really pretty. I like this. Coda's a nice
safety car is coming in, so Max Verstappen's going to let Bernd Mailander go off into the distance, get
but
back
they got
to the
like,
pits, so we can get racing again.
They got like
Verstappen from Hamilton. They finished 1-2 in either order on 31 previous occasions.
They're not too far from.
I can say 20 wins.
I can say this because
and they're 1-2 again.
Because she has disclosed this before, but
towards turn 1, if Hamilton can stick with the Red Bull, if Perez and the other Red Bull can stick with Hamilton, this could be quite explosive. You see the packed grandstands here, the crowd waiting for this race to go again. And when?
No, but Birdie has admitted.
When does he start to get going once again at full pace?
Okay.
It's
Birdie's okay with it.
Who blinks first? There he goes. And Hamilton, I think, was expecting that particular part, and he's certainly gone with him. And Charles Leclerc has George Russell right behind him. That could get quite tasty going into turn 1. Can't overtake until you've crossed the line, and that's what Max Verstappen has done now. We're racing once again. Verstappen leads Hamilton, leads Perez, leads Leclerc, leads Russell, the top 5, and Verstappen's got a very nice gap ahead then of Lewis Hamilton, behind George Russell. We'll see company from Lance Stroll on the inside of Sebastian Vettel. He's trying to make a move with that Aston Martin. Vettel just stays ahead. Alonso battling with Gasly. Tsunoda battling there with Lando Norris.
Yeah, wonderful restart there. So that's energized the race again, hasn't it? As what I think is one of the best views of a Formula 1 car.
I want to see Lance versus Seb.
Turn 3 there.
Let's see what comes out of it.
Slows down towards the end as they collect the car up there and cascade down the hill into another braking zone. Game back on.
We know how that goes.
Through that snake, slithering at speed, Max Verstappen stays in the lead of this race.
We know what Stroll is able to do in a Williams.
Big Schumacher back of a company. Esteban Ocon locks up, goes too deep.
Lance and a Williams got a podium. I'm just saying.
I'll take 12th place. And Ocon compromised there. Fernando Alonso goes off the track. That's a high-speed crash, and he's made contact with Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. That is a big moment down the back straight, and we've got another safety car.
All right, wins. You gotta change.
Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll are both okay, but that was a very heavy crash.
So I don't know if one of them lost a tyre carcass or whether we think maybe Fernando Alonso
get back in there, Bert. Get back in there, Bert Mylander.
We may need a red flag to clear the debris away, otherwise you a great risk of more punctures coming your way. If you can, you scoop the pack up, so you buy a big amount of space while they're around the other side of the track to clear the track away. Depends on the debris. That's going to need a red flag.
Yeah, there's a lot of debris down there. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll team teammates together.
He's fine. We saw him move.
Getting too
We saw
close
it.
to each other
He's getting
on
out.
the track
He's fine.
here this afternoon.
He's fine.
The safety car.
But that might be
continues
red flaggable. Like, how are you?
Alonso might have hit the back.
Yeah, how are
he
you?
certainly was behind Lance Stroll.
How are you gonna?
As they made their way down that straight. So did Alonso hit the back of Stroll, and that's what
hard to
caused the
clean
accident.
up.
He got airborne for a bit.
Yeah, and I was mighty relieved to see Fernando Alonso not hit the corner of the barrier near the service road. But
So who's
unfortunately, we're
down
now
and
going
out?
to drive
So it was Alonso.
back all through the debris.
I'm amazed Alonso
The way
didn't
that
isn't
that looks to me, it's
retiring.
probably
Like
got
how?
suspension
What did they
damage
make
there as
the?
well, I would say, on Esteban, on Fernando Alonso's
What is
car,
Al?
because the way the front just locked up.
Well, Fernando Alonso might be able to keep going. Lance Stroll, no
it's such a
chance
good
to keep
race,
going,
too.
but fabulous to see him out of the car and able to walk away. So Alonso was behind Stroll, then he got a better exit in turn 11. Let's have a look to see what happened here. He did get very airborne. He goes to the left, and Lance Stroll moves to the left, Martin, to try and block Fernando Alonso, to try and stop the pass. That's when the contact is made.
Fernando will say there was a little jink to the left, just as he was making the move. Got very close, of course, to the...
Was Stroll.
Oh no, he
could have been Stroll. Stroll.
He turned straight left into him.
Stroll. Stroll's fault.
Okay, Lance, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Reaction Alpine Garage.
Look at that guy!
There's a view of it. So,
That's my fate.
Yeah. They did well to avoid that. They all did extremely well to avoid that. So Fernando was
it's my crack.
Close up behind him.
Not my crack.
You okay?
Yes, mate.
Alright, I guess
Very
it's
late
time to go back to Toto.
I thought he'd be saying that. It was a
No,
little
please.
late
You're gonna somehow jinx Toto.
I mean, Fernando moved late to break the to get out of the toe in the slipstream. Obviously, getting
I know he really did,
as
to
long
be
as
honest.
he possibly could of that slipstream. And as soon as he moved, and Lance could see where he was going, as Fernando Alonso passes the scene of the Aston Martin that needs to be recovered. As soon as Lance knew which way he was going, he then moves over to the left. Now that's instinct, I would imagine, Martin, that you want to protect your place.
We just need 6 more people to crash out.
Yeah, I think exactly. I understand what Fernando's saying there. That was a late jink. So clearly, when he locked up coming in the pits, that was obviously because he had a puncture. He had a car where the carcass was off the Aston Martin, wasn't it? So it probably, well, as I say, it's such a risk that you've picked up debris on your tyres, having now passed through there. But they look like they're going to cover it all off under a safety car and not a red flag. To me, I think I'd put a sweeper on the track there.
Let's just have a look. Mick Schumacher's view making his way through the debris. You can see that you can see so much picked up on the tyres, which are obviously very warm and therefore very sticky. Fernando Alonso is going to drive through the debris too.
Oh, jeez. Lando just ate all of that debris.
Now there's a whole load of smoke to drive through. Joe Guan Yu has come into the pits. I wonder if he did pick up a little bit of debris and they decided that Alfa Romeo, let's get you in, get rid of those tyres. So Joe Guan Yu makes his second pit stop in this race. We're on lap 24 of 56. Race controllers noted that collision.
Another tractor on the track, you know.
Lance Stroll still to score at the Circuit of the Americas in 5 starts here. Aston Martin were running 2 cars in the top 7. At one stage, we've got Sebastian Vettel left in the top 6, but Stroll becomes the 3rd driver to retire from this race. Valtteri Bottas causing the first safety car when he went off at turn 19. Look at the debris that Lewis Hamilton's picked up on his tyres too.
Yeah, they're going to, the blowers are out.
The Delta's so
they're going to investigate that after the race because they want to hear from both drivers.
Sorry, I was spinning a whole
and I thought it was a blower, but it's not. It's a recovery vehicle. Under safety car conditions, when you've got visibility like this and the grip of a slick tyre, it's a different story than to have a vehicle on the track, for example. If you're wondering why is this fine? But everybody was so upset in Japan.
Yeah, you can see it here, and they're behind the safety car, and
everything got standing water. You've got grip. You've got.
It can be controlled. So as I said, Lance Stroll out, Valtteri Bottas who caused the first safety car, and Carlos Sainz who was out at turn 1, lap 1. Ted Kravitz, down to you.
Just this thing across the team radio feeders to some of the drivers talking about debris and just what you're talking about, Martin, why we do or do not have a red flag.
Yeah.
Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll's teammates, actually said that debris is not that bad.
Bert Myland was like,
there's a bit of grass and muck around, but if they just remove the larger pieces of carbon fibre and debris off his teammate's car, presumably, and Fernando Alonso's front wing, then it should be okay to carry on. So I think race control will probably listen to those team radio messages as well.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I'm not a race director. I would have red flagged it. What I'm concerned about is when they get going again and start pulling left to overtake, they go through the rest of the debris. And you get punctures and you get bits and pieces flying around. But they're satisfied they've got it clean and they're getting the reports back it's clean.
As a reference, tire life for the medium was better than expected.
In your radius, then you're not in a safe part.
And he's on a hard tyre, so he probably doesn't want to hear that message, to be honest.
I'm just glad Kuro didn't spoil the crash.
A set of soft tyres we put on towards the end of this race.
And of course, you know, they always underfuel the cars to save the weight. You don't want to carry a few kilograms of fuel around with you all race. So, yeah, that is hilarious. That did not go upside down.
Wait, who's doing
And he hit the barrier beyond the service road.
Do you remember Mark Webber and Hayden
Alonso would have been upside down.
Valencia. So Mark did go upside down. Quite reminiscent of the earlier stages of that accident, I think, as one wheel rode up over the other.
Can we talk about how he turned the wheel while his front tires are 3 feet off the ground?
Both drivers okay, and they'll be going to the stewards' room after this race. It's going to be investigated after the race, and I think the stewards will want to speak to both drivers to have a chat and hear their side of the story.
Some impressive driving behind them, I must say. Living on your reflexes, ducking and diving around that.
Lance clearly thought he was
just a
going to
bit.
go left.
Lightning reactions needed. Right, safety car ending. We're going to get a resumption. So does Max Verstappen head off into the distance earlier or later, or do the same thing? Penalty kick, isn't it? You get 2 in a game. Do you hit it a different way, or do you do the same thing?
I think if Perez had got a fully healthy car, it'd be better just backing Hamilton into his teammate a little bit, and he's got enough pace to control this race and see if Sergio can overtake him using the straight line speed of the Red Bull. But I think Perez struggles to probably to warm those tyres up. He's going to be a bit of downforce, and not just on the front, it affects the downforce on the whole car for Sergio Perez, but he's gone early.
So we've had 8 safety car laps here. I wonder if that turns a 2-stop race into a 1-stop race. I wonder what that means then for the rest of this race, because we've still got another 30-odd laps to go, and we are going to be green once again. To remind you, you can't overtake before the line. They're crossing the line now. Verstappen then away from Hamilton, who looks a little bit closer this time around.
I have bad news to report. George Russell's behind a Ferrari.
Vettel for company. Into turn 1 we go. Max Verstappen has got the restart done well. There's a battle
bad news. George Russell is behind the Ferrari right now.
Kevin Magnussen, who's ahead of Ocon for 11th place currently, is down the hill we now go, and through the snake, the high-speed section. Sebastian Vettel nicely through the first part of that, gaining on George Russell. Out in front though, Verstappen survived yet another safety car restart and survived it excellently.
And of course, as many of you already know, no drag reduction system, open rear wing for 2 laps after a safety car. To let they say it can be dangerous. I don't really understand why we keep that regulation in there, because but you know, while they're warming everything up and they've all been concertinaed together, I feel
it happened in the first 3 races.
That, you know,
twice.
Safety cars generate safety cars. It's a well-known
Those were the good times
in the motor racing business.
Certainly do. The bumps generating a few sparks. Sebastian Vettel very close on this lap to George Russell. I suppose waiting a couple of laps for DRS, it mitigates the advantage that is lost from the car in front with the safety car coming out. It makes it, I suppose, a little bit fairer, but I'm with you, Martin. Bring the DRS in after 1 lap and let's get some more overtaking done. Max Verstappen out in front then. Lewis Hamilton currently in second place. Verstappen has the fastest lap of the race. That's why he's scoring 26 points. Gasly running in 7th. Tsunoda, Norris, Mick Schumacher in the final points places. Could be a key result for Mick Schumacher in a shootout for the Haas seat for next year with Nico Hülkenberg. Gasly's been noted for being more than 10 car lengths behind the car in front during the safety car. You can't do that. You might find a penalty coming his way, a la Sergio Perez a few races ago. But for the moment, there we see Mick Schumacher gaining on Lando Norris, even without DRS into turn 1.
Yeah, Schumacher in the World Championship points. Does he need these? He needs a good day out, doesn't he? If he's going to have a chance of retaining that seat for next year, does young Mick?
What happened to my drivability?
Yeah.
Strat 2.
Yeah, change something on your steering wheel, Max. Will get that drivability back again. He's already 1.4 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton. As Brad Pitt busy taking notes for that
Ferrari,
Formula 1 film, which he says is top secret. He didn't tell you the plot line. Did you give him the CV for being you? A couple of commentators needed in that one?
No, he didn't seem very good.
No, I didn't.
At all, actually.
He will be.
He was busy.
I don't even know.
He will be when he sees our CV. Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Leclerc. Did I notice that George Russell's got a little bit of damage to his front wing end plate as well? I wonder if that collision with Sainz, whether he's dislodged a little bit on his front wing.
We talked about it earlier, the right front corner of his wing.
Wait a minute. Was he doing catering for Red Bull?
Hanging on well as he hangs on to 5th place.
Is that why Red Bull's so
made a habit
expensive?
of finishing in the top 5 in this his first season with Mercedes. 15 of the first 16 races this season. He finished in that top 5. Would dearly love to get back into the top 5 again with Carlos Sainz, his nearest rival in the championship, out of course of this race. One Ferrari remaining. It is Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc chasing after Sergio Perez. He's got within a second,
He's
and he stayed within a second because the DRS is now enabled. He might be able to use that extra 17 kilometers of an hour extra pace.
He's basically a pro wrestler.
Alongside the Red Bull in front, Sergio Perez. By the sounds of that, Martin's going to need every single kilometre an hour over 17 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, once again, he's like half a second off the pace. Charles Leclerc's in a bit of traffic, of course, but
my brain just wants to watch cars go fast.
Traction onto the straight for Sergio Perez. Let's see if he becomes a smaller dot as we get down there.
Nah, Ducks, I don't even know what to say about that.
Leclerc
Ducks, I don't even know what to say about that.
About 0.3 of a second.
Yeah,
I think faster down that straight.
But obviously we had DRS on the Ferrari at that point. We had the rear wing open, so it gave us a bit of a false impression.
At least we have an American.
It looked to me like we were catching him at the end of the straight.
With the DRS he was, but not by enough. Ted, let's head down to you.
News from McLaren.
I hope
Lando's
Sargent is going to be like,
he's picked up some debris, Crofty, from the that accident on the front left wing. Front left side of his front wing. So yeah, I mean that is a critical moment. We've seen critical point of creating downforce. We've seen with Sergio Perez it's not damaging the Red Bull too badly. So hopefully it won't be too degrading for Lando's performance as he's hunting down. I believe it's Yuki Tsunoda who's very close behind the AlphaTauri ahead of him.
Yeah, it's quite a train forming. Gasly, Tsunoda. Gasly is helping his teammate a bit by giving him some DRS. Norris has got the DRS, as has the Haas of Mick Schumacher behind. It's the battle from 7th to 10th as Zach Brown can join us once again from that McLaren pit wall. We've just heard debris causing a little bit of damage to Lando Norris's car. Zach, can you give us a bit more information?
Yeah, he's got some of the debris there in the accident with Fernando and Stroll. Doesn't look to be too bad, but any damage is never helpful.
We haven't seen or heard too much from Daniel. Has he sent you a postcard up on the pit wall there?
No, I haven't heard from him yet. We've got a long way to go in this race, so hoping something will still come our way.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much, Zach. Back with you a little later. It's all going to unfold here, isn't it? Down the straight. As Charles Leclerc.
It still sort of sucks that he can't even contend for a win, though.
Looks up, and Charles Leclerc goes wide and off the track, rejoins the track, and Sergio Perez is ahead, which means the stewards don't have to get involved in that one, because had Charles Leclerc stayed ahead of the Red Bull, that's definitely leaving the track and gaining an advantage.
Yeah, and I think Leclerc realised if he didn't, he was going to have a Red Bull in the side of him there. So let's get a better angle on that. And just about okay in terms of time of moving over there for Sergio.
Ooh.
We've locked up.
Why did just
anyway?
Why did those wheels just not
let him back through?
I mean,
yeah, Sergio might have locked up,
his
but
braking
Charles
was fine, but then it just the wheel,
up a little bit
but
as well.
the brakes just did not.
I'm pretty sure
react
Leclerc
the way
there was
they
making
should've.
sure he didn't get run into.
You're right. He might have to try again here. Here we go once more. Bit of DRS. Let's see what he can do down that back straight once again. Still Gasly ahead of Tsunoda. Still Norris ahead of Mick Schumacher in that battle for 7th place. And Charles Leclerc behind Sergio Perez, loving the fact that the cars can hang on to the car in front just that little bit better, Martin, in 2022 than we did 12 months ago.
Definitely. It just takes all the air out of your lungs when you just keep pulling left G-force to the right, left, right, left. And if we were inside that car, you'd all be breathless within 2-3 laps. It just soaks your energy. Bizarre.
Breathless watching it.
Did you hear? Isn't he rumored to be
into turn 11 here? And now Charles Leclerc with that DRS is catching him once again. He's
Isn't
in
he
the
rumored to be the
slipstream, he's got
developmental
speed.
driver
Can
for
he be
Red
late
Bull?
on the brakes and dive down the inside? He's going for it. Charles Leclerc, the crowd roar their approval. That was
Elbows out,
absolutely
baby.
brilliant from Charles Leclerc. Kept the car under
Elbows
control,
out,
saw the
baby.
gap, broke the latest, and managed to take 3rd place.
I don't know if there was a little love kiss in there somewhere. We'll
because
see
he's
a
helping
better
Max.
angle, but a great move, and because he kept just gently turning the wheel left, he didn't lock an inside tyre. Really lovely touch on the brake pedal and steering wheel there from Charles Leclerc.
The battle.
Kiss or not, there's about 100,000 fans here who want to kiss Charles Leclerc for that, because that was a brilliant move. Now, did he keep the car fully on the
Because he
track?
made a bet
Sergio
that
Perez
Latifi
might
would
be
never
saying
get points.
he went off the track. Oh no, he didn't. He was on the white line.
Yes,
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of
I don't think he did.
Remember that slow racing?
I do, but it's
Disappointed of turn 1, lap 1 to a bit of celebration for the time being in that Ferrari garage. Charles Leclerc up into the podium
Nicholas
places.
Yeah, I thought it was tremendous car control there from Leclerc. Very brave too, and of course that you need to trust somebody like Sergio Perez that he's going to give you a Ferrari's width. He won't give you any more, but great driving from all round there.
Podium finisher at the last 4 races. He's
Nicholas
never
Rikishi.
had 5 in a row. He's up into the podium places now, and there's a 5-second time penalty for Pierre Gasly, who's currently in 7th place. You can see him on your
Scotty
screen
to
at the
Ollie.
head of this quartet for...
Leclerc went off. Just getting back.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, but he needs to get back the position.
Yeah,
Still
Scotty.
on the track.
He didn't.
Let's
They'll show him
go,
afterwards that
Scotty
Sergio
Ducati and
says that he was on the
Rikishi.
white line. For being more than 10 car lengths behind the safety car, Pierre Gasly
I feel like
has a
AEW.
5-second time penalty. Ted, down to
AEW
you.
has some
So
really
Hamilton
good.
is keeping in touch with Max Verstappen. Verstappen just did the fastest lap of the race a couple of laps ago, but he's only pulling out a couple of tenths per lap, Max Verstappen. So I think this is just a case.
It's not a flop,
of,
it was
we
a
know
worm,
this
wasn't
Red Bull
it?
has inherent pace, but he's just bringing the tyres back in, trying to get the stint length they want. We're only about 5 laps away before the safety car from our second pit stops here. So those 5 laps will be extended a little bit more, maybe towards lap 40 or so for the second pit stops. But yeah, Hamilton keeping Verstappen honest. Now just, oh, and it's gone to 2 seconds now, actually. I was going to say that gap had
Yeah,
never
the suck it
succeeded.
motion.
Never been more
Suck
than
it.
2 seconds. It is now. So maybe Verstappen starting to put his foot down a little bit.
Cursed it, Ted. Cursed it. I think it's that middle sector, Martin, where Max
yes,
Verstappen
the-
seems
the
to
end.
have the big advantage over the Mercedes. But look, eight laps behind a safety car, could this be a one-stop race if they decided to go aggressive?
And they're all saying
Yeah,
the tyres are
thanks,
lasting better than they thought, but if you're Max
Lost
Verstappen,
job.
you think, well, what's the point of me putting out a great big lead if I'm going to keep
I wish
losing
a Formula
to
1
a
driver,
safety
when
car?
he wins
So
a race,
he might
just
be
gets out
saving
of
some
his car and
grip
does the
there.
DX chop.
Gasly then.
This is just a replay
So slow,
from
it's
behind
almost-
the safety car. Mentioned that 5-second time penalty, and here you can see.
Yeah, that's definitely 10. That's definitely 10 car
You don't
lengths.
think that's
man.
more than 10 lengths?
Oh, it absolutely is more than 10 lengths, but you know, the car in front of you accelerated like crazy. I think 50 meters you're talking about. I think it's really hard.
Someone did like that animated short of like
with the performance these cars have got in a straight line. If the driver in front of you just bolts, you can't. He wasn't sort of the F1 and playing games.
F1 animation where they're all like, where Christian Horner has the interpreter, where if Sergio Perez gets a 5-second penalty for 10 car lengths, it's like, but is it
where they were more than 50 meters apart?
It's the battle of the damaged front wings, Sergio Perez and George Russell, and Russell's got a bit more of his front wing intact, and he is gaining on Sergio Perez. His last lap took him, I think, just to within under a second of that Red Bull in front. And he's got a bit of time here. Look, there we go. 9
really
tenths of a second.
by
So
the pace
DRS
of,
will be enabled down the straight. Not as long as the back straight here.
Distance?
Will certainly give George a chance to reduce that arrears by 2, 3, and maybe about 4 tenths of a second by the time we get into turn 1.
Yeah,
the key for him here, Martin, can he be half a second behind at the end of this section?
It's like.
But we also know
the thing is, I've been so used to seeing how like
we certainly do.
The Ferraris always drop off around this stage
on the Ferrari in front of him.
So it's sort of shocking to see that the Mercedes
kind of all right. I don't think he's been as quick this afternoon as I imagined he might be, Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see the Mercedes. Well, it's just a combination.
Suffering and struggling in the gusty conditions here. Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly.
We are just
the pits. He's come
one
out as,
Verstappen mistake away
place last on the track because he served his 5-second
contention.
penalty, and that's taken him out of the fight for 7th place. So his teammate Yuki Tsunoda takes over and has now have 2 drivers in the points in their home Grand Prix.
2 drivers
9th,
in the points.
Kevin Magnussen's 10th.
Good for them. But we're a bit over half distance, of course, and if they can run long on this, if they're going to make a second stop, they can
we try. We don't. Well, we don't. We try not to.
See, this time we went right.
Talk about it. We don't. We don't claim. We don't claim him that much.
Didn't he? That's brave. Might be the oldest man on the track, but he's one of the bravest, isn't he? Fernando there, yeah, just piled down the outside, but. In a way, those incidents we saw with Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso, it's kind of one of those, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often, incidents, but they rather met in the middle, didn't they?
That'll be an interesting topic of discussion when they meet for coffee and a chat on the 1st of January, when they become teammates.
Good point.
At Aston Martin. Talking of
is that Ed Sheeran?
having a drink and a chat. Ed Sheeran enjoying himself with Stefano Domenicali, the head of F1, as into the pits comes.
I was talking to a friend.
So,
I was talking to a friend, and the topic of Ed Sheeran came up. And when we said Ed Sheeran, he was all like, "I know I can treat you better," and I'm like, "That's not Ed Sheeran." It's like we're like, "Is that Shawn Mendes?" It's like, "Is that Shawn Mendes?" He's all like, "Oh yeah," and I'm all like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, common mistake because they look so similar, right, buddy?"
Catching him a little bit. Behind these two comes Charles Leclerc, who's never finished on the podium from lower than 7th on the grid. There he is, currently in 3rd place. There's Sergio Perez.
Stop
There's
it!
George Russell, and you can see that front wing end plate flapping around in the strong breeze after contact with Carlos Sainz on the first part of this lap. We're on board with our race leader.
I feel like it's hurting my drivability, these track changes.
Understood, Max.
So is what's going on with the engine keeping Hamilton in touch and keeping the jeopardy alive in this race?
It is clearly they're fixing something, aren't they?
I'm amazed Kuro didn't.
As we see
pitting. So Mercedes have thought, right, now could be a really good time to try and pull the undercut here. Hard tires.
Oh my God! She pulled.
Lewis Hamilton.
That's called.
The hard tires.
That's called.
Seconds.
That's the Paula Dean special.
2.4 seconds, because every 10th is going to count here. And this could be hammer time with Lewis Hamilton on a fresh set of tyres, trying to put in a lap time that could beat Max Verstappen into turn 1 when Verstappen has to pit. Into the pits comes Lando Norris. Now, where are those behind him? Magnussen is still out out on the track, and I'm looking for the likes of Yuki Tsunoda coming down the track, because Norris's race was with Yuki Tsunoda. They tried to pull the undercut, didn't they, with Norris? Oh, and that was close as Norris came out. Tsunoda just ahead of him, Martin.
Yeah, Tsunoda knew he had to go and cover that one.
Guys, I think something happened.
P6. But he's got a lot of free air in front of him at the moment in a critical.
Let's make our bold prediction. I'm gonna say a slow stop.
Times out of the way.
I'm gonna say slow stop for Verstappen.
Toto Wolff said on the grid, didn't he, that he's going to go aggressive today. Mercedes are going to go aggressive, and I think that's what they've done here with Lewis Hamilton. They found a really nice spot on
We're
the
watching
track.
we're not watching an obscure website.
It might cost them a little later on in the
ESPN.
race, towards the end of the season, as they've stopped
That's literally the Sky Sports of America.
With the fastest first sector so far.
This is like the most legit stream we have.
Middle sector so far, and as you can see on your screen just a couple of seconds ago.
Slow stop.
Yeah, well, he was 1.5 seconds ahead, wasn't he? He lost half a second in the middle sector.
Slow. Fuck it up. He fucked it up.
This is going to make it.
He fucked it up. Let's go.
Lewis Hamilton is going to take the lead of this race. What's happened to Max Verstappen in the pit stop? That front left turn wheel wasn't tightened up enough, and he's been beaten by Charles Leclerc.
Oh God! The drone died.
Into turn 1, Lewis Hamilton.
Even the drone died.
Oh, Max Verstappen in this race. Charles Leclerc also ahead.
Someone shot the drone.
The crowd can sense that this race has changed dramatically in the last 4 miles.
Now we've got a race on our hands, but medium tyres on the Red Bull, and something now very much to prove.
Go, Charles! Hold him!
On the day when he could equal Schumacher and Vettel for 13 wins, the most in a single season.
I'm gonna do a shoey.
Might just have been taken out of his hands.
I'm not doing a shoey. Actually, look at that.
Well, we've got 36 laps of just kind of preparing, haven't we? Now we go racing.
Now Sergio Perez leads this race. George Russell is in second place. That might not stay that way for long, because look how George Russell is now all over the rear of the Red Bull of Sergio Perez. Sebastian Vettel in his last US Grand Prix is running third.
George.
Hamilton, though, has stopped for a second time, so he's the next de facto leader in this race. He's got 4 races left.
Does anyone know what the delta
to
is
save that
between
record of his of winning at least one race in every season he's competed in, and a bit of luck might have just gone his way with that front left not tightening up properly.
Yeah, they had to get another gun, but it just wasn't registering the right amount of torque and tightness, and that's P3 from a
Can we find the
lead.
where's the
George
drone
Russell
crashing in the background?
for Mercedes, and that was a much smoother stop. 3.2 seconds, still not the fastest that we've seen so far this afternoon. That goes to Sergio Perez, 2.1 seconds. Perez now leads this race.
So what are they going to do with Perez? Are they just going to hold him out?
Then Lewis Hamilton up into third. There is Charles Leclerc ahead of Max Verstappen. That's going to get a bit tasty, because I think Verstappen is in the mood to try and make amends here, as round the outside goes Kevin Magnussen.
9 seconds?
George Russell's going to try and fight him down the hill, but sadly for Russell, he's come out behind the Haas here. And a Haas of Kevin Magnussen that's only stopped once. They pitted
Russell's
Lewis
gonna super
into a
undercut
lovely
him.
gap. They haven't managed to do that for George Russell, and I think Martin Brundle, even without that
Because he had a
mishap in the
3.2,
pits
it
for
was a
Red Bull,
fantastic stop.
it would have
He's
been
gonna super
very
run
close for
under him.
Hamilton.
It would have been tight.
Long way to go.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me that.
Max, we're in this together, mate. Head down. Come on.
Yeah, win together, lose together, and the team have definitely obviously compromised in there. It balances up when you throw it in the gravel or the wall, but he'll be able to see Hamilton a long way down the road. He's got DRS though. Can he get past this Ferrari? And Leclerc will not make it easy, but it's so difficult to defend down the back straight when the rear wing is open.
So there was one overtake down that back straight. It was George Russell moving up to 6th place ahead then of Kevin Magnussen, and we can ride on board with Max Verstappen, who won from pole here last year, was looking to follow that up with a win from the front row this year, and it was all looking very lovely for him until
he said himself by being born from Jaws.
Problems with his drivability, and then problems with the wheel guns, and that has relegated him down. He's now
you mean the guy that was born of an oligarch?
16.5 seconds off the
You mean the
lead
oligarch's
of this
son?
race.
That guy was pretty bad.
Behind Vettel, just making his way up into turn 1 now, and we can see Verstappen Verstappen behind Charles Leclerc. Leclerc moves to the inside to cover off the Red Bull. Just looking at the
I was about
lap
to say,
times,
being Joss's son
is
is already sort of like setting yourself up to be the
These two are
villain.
really pushing each other on the medium compound tyres, and they're lapping about a second a lap quicker than the Mercedes in front of them.
But this is not the way that Verstappen would ideally want to bring these tyres in, having to go out and push them.
I don't like that
crazy,
though, because that makes them
sliding
redeemable.
around in the
I don't want
slipstream of the
I don't want
Ferrari.
Max to be
But
seen.
you're right, the pair of them at the moment are coming back at Lewis Hamilton. They're on the mediums, Hamilton's
I would
on the
say
hard compound.
And
Yeah,
Pierre
he's the other
Gasly
Todoroki. He's the other Todoroki.
or a voice in his ears in a moment that he's not going to like. He had a 5-second time penalty that relegated him right down to the rear of the field. Apparently the penalty wasn't served correctly. I don't think he was stationary for long enough. He might have to come in again here as Verstappen gaining on Charles Leclerc. We can see him getting closer into that first corner.
I like that when the Mercedes had the when they first debuted the black suits and the black car. That was like some Darth Vader, Death Star shit.
See
It was
the
awesome.
Red Bull getting out of shape there.
The
As they're hitting,
was it
obviously,
W13s?
Perez
Those things were
from the lead. And suddenly Leclerc's come alive at the wheel of that Ferrari too, hasn't he? As Joe Guan Yu gets himself a black and white warning flag as well.
Now Sergio Perez is into the pits. He was about 21 seconds ahead.
They just need to call it for
Gasly
Gasly this year. This year is
Perez
just.
can be ahead of Russell or not, and a 3.8 second stop that swung this in the favour of the
Let's
Red
go,
Bull.
Seb
George
P1.
Russell, Sebastian Vettel
Seb
takes the
P1,
lead of the
baby.
race. Hamilton is second. Here goes Max Verstappen.
Damn,
down
why is
the
that too
inside
easy?
of Charles Leclerc. It's the old
Oh, he went
switcheroo
wide. He
from
went wide. He
Leclerc.
went wide. He went
He's
wide.
got him on the exit. Oh, brilliant stuff. As positions exchanged one after the other in the space of 10 metres. Crowd loved it. I loved it. What a race this is. George Russell's ahead and Sergio Perez after
Come on,
the pit
Charles,
stop.
this is-
Remember I talked before the race started.
Charles,
gloves off,
you earned that
championships
P3,
over.
baby.
That's exactly where we find ourselves now.
You earned
what
this
they must do
P3.
is cost themselves tyre life and time up against Lewis Hamilton, who remains 4.3 seconds ahead. 4.8 now.
And amidst all this,
At this point, Leclerc
Sebastian
got nothing to
Vettel
lose too. He
leads this
better
race, and I
redeem
want him
himself.
to carry on and lead this
Leclerc the
race
redeemer.
and go across the line leading, because that'll be 3,500 laps
Watch
he's
this,
led
Crofty.
in his F1 career. Oh, I'm watching it, Martin, don't you worry, and so's Charles Leclerc, and so's Max Verstappen, and Verstappen pulls out from behind the Ferrari and gets the move done into the braking zone. That was clinical
When's the next
from Max
DRS
Verstappen.
zone?
He knew he had more pace than Charles Leclerc, and it was a superbly executed move.
Let's see how much pace he's got now then, if he can close
Does
the
he
gap
have
to
that
Hamilton,
straight line
drag
speed
the
though?
Ferrari along
Because
with him.
the Red Bull
Might
has
have a
better straight
three-way
line
fight
speed
here.
at this point.
Is the medium tyre the right one to be on the
Yeah,
yellow marked
that-
one? You can see there. Or
That
we know
rocket
that the
shuttle that they
Mercedes
have
has
of a
quite
car.
enjoyed
It's not
the
fair.
hard compound. And Lewis wasn't
Look at that.
singing
Look at the
their praise
distances
earlier on
already.
though, was he?
I think the hard compound tyre on that Mercedes is starting
better
to
be
come
Lewis if we
Lewis
win.
Hamilton's way too. Now,
Better be Lewis if he
between
wins.
these
If
two
Lewis
has not helped their lap times,
don't care.
but that was 0.3 of a second faster Verstappen than Hamilton on the last lap. So that big pace difference is now dropping off somewhat. And well done, Sebastian Vettel. He's retiring at the end of the season. It's 3,500 laps led now, not 3,499, which you never want to quit on, do you?
Dive T1.
Great move by Verstappen and Leclerc in turn one. Verstappen for trying it, Leclerc for knowing what was coming, and a much better move at the end of the
I'm
back
surprised
straight. This
the
is when
undercut
George
didn't
Russell
work.
got ahead of Sergio
Oh, wait, it did
Perez.
work.
It was always
I
going to be
guess.
tight. Russell got him on
It
with a
did
bit
it?
more momentum going down the hill, but that went on an awful lot longer than we fully expected.
Yeah, Perez ends up back in front
Yeah, he
again,
does.
Crofty. Yeah, but then
Well,
far behind him.
goddamn. Well, goddamn, man.
What's going on here?
This is Verstappen making the move on Leclerc to take third place off
That's so
Charles Leclerc.
even with the DRS.
It's a
I mean,
net second.
That's
Sebastian
even
Vettel will surely have to
that's
pit
like
again.
double DRS.
There he is, out in the lead of this race. Lewis Hamilton right behind him.
They're a lot faster. So Hamilton
No,
then's
let-
got to put
Hamilton-
Vettel in a
Lewis-
bona
literally,
fide
Lewis has no
position in
win.
front of him. He'll not have to get out of the way for blue flags or anything, of course. So that's
no
going to
way.
hinder
First of all,
Hamilton for a little while. He'll be wanting to dispatch the Aston Martin ASAP. because Verstappen and Leclerc are both faster at this stage.
I'll take a shot.
Sebastian Vettel, winner from pole here in 2013.
I'll take a
slightly
shot
more competitive car in terms of race wins than his Aston Martin is this afternoon. Can Hamilton dive down the inside for the lead of the race? Yes, he can. Vettel didn't really defend that one. Thought that wasn't the battle
perhaps
to pick,
that might be the
but
last time we
Hamilton
see
now
Hamilton
takes the
passing
lead
Vettel for
of
a
the
lead.
US Grand Prix. We're on lap
Just sorta
41
wanted
out
to-
of 56. He hasn't won this season so far. Could this be the afternoon where Lewis Hamilton keeps that record going? Oh, don't turn away from this. This is going to be epic between now and
Brundle's
the
gonna
end of the
cream his
race, because
pants.
still battling away, Charles Leclerc has Max Verstappen ahead of him, and that fight isn't done quite yet either.
No, far from it. He's still within the DRS drag reduction system, 1 second that he needs to be. But they can get after Hamilton. They're gaining. Hamilton lost about a second, 1.2 seconds there, following Vettel on the previous lap. So maybe he'll get the same service when Verstappen turns up on the scene with Vettel.
Here comes Charles Leclerc once again. He's not got enough down that back straight to get within half a second of Max Verstappen. The top three here: Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen. 13 world championships.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm about to close the server chat. I can't. Sorry, I clicked away.
13, that makes 13. Nice one, Crofty.
I'm clicking
Not
on-
too shabby. Good to see Sebastian.
I'm clicking
Vettel
away
up
from
there
the
fighting. I
server
think he's
chat.
about to make a pit stop. Yes, he is about to make a pit stop. So the Aston Martin crew come out. They've only got one car in the race, of course, so it has to be Sebastian Vettel. But I've just asked the question to Mercedes: can you win this Grand Prix? The answer: we're in the hunt. Yes, the two cars behind are quicker, but they are going to fight. And boy, is Hamilton going to be motivated. Here's Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel into the pits then. And he's going to come out behind Sergio Perez and George Russell.
Slow on the front
It is
left.
slow.
Oh, they can't get the front left actually on. Now they have to jack the car back up. Oh dear, this could have been a podium position. The car is jacked back up. Now they need to drop it so they can go. Oh dear, poor Sebastian Vettel. A shambles there on the pit stop for Aston Martin. They're beating themselves up about it.
16.8 seconds stationary. He could have come out 6th. He's come out 13th onto the racetrack. That is just tragic luck.
There could have been a world where Lance Stroll would have been on the podium. Lance Stroll legitimately could have gotten the podium.
42nd at middle sector.
But the key here is, Martin, that advantage that the
I know, I'm
had over the
panicking.
hard compound tyres that was about a second a lap.
I'm
5 laps
panicking. This
ago,
is horrible.
is reducing lap after lap after lap here. It's now down to about 0.2 of a second.
God,
It's going to be quite the grandstand finish here today. And Lando Norris
the
is
fact
going to
that
do
that
his
slow
bit
stop
to give us
still
some
just
thrilling moments as he goes wheel to wheel with Yuki Tsunoda into turn 1. That was nice.
That was very.
Lando was
That was
so
legal,
late
but
on
very
the brakes
rude.
there. That was almost avoiding a crash as much as an overtake. Lovely.
While we watch that, Hamilton has just matched Max Verstappen in the first sector and was only a 10th down on Verstappen in the middle sector. Around about 10 or so laps ago, there was about half a second difference between the Red Bull and the Mercedes in Verstappen's favour. Now it's come down to an awful lot closer.
Yeah, they gained a 10 on Lewis, but at that rate, there's not enough, nowhere near
Miss
enough laps
100% of the
left.
shots you don't
But
take.
Lewis can maintain this kind of pace. Max and Charles haven't got enough time to catch him.
In 2012, Lewis Hamilton passed Sebastian Vettel on lap 42 to win the first
Real
race
battle
in
of the
Austin
talent.
here.
Real
Passed
battle of
Sebastian Vettel
talents.
for the lead on lap
Those two.
41 today. Told you we were going back in time a little bit as Lando Norris and Joe Guan Yu at the top of the hill. Norris with damage to his car because of debris after the accident that took out Lance Stroll from this race. He's still battling on with just a point to his name at the moment. Alpine in that battle for 4th place in the championship, winning out today. Alonso 7th and Ocon 8th. Alex Albon up in the points once again for Williams. And it will be the first point since Spa for him. Kevin Magnussen running 6th for Haas, which would just be a magnificent finish. But are they trying the one-stop strategy, I wonder? He hasn't pitted for a second time.
Let's just consider Fernando Alonso's afternoon. At one point, He nearly turned up on the radar at the international airport, didn't he, just up the road. Went to the back, damaged car, is now in P7, ahead of Esteban Ocon again. And, well, what an afternoon he's had in many respects.
Meanwhile, Nicholas Latifi's been given a 5-second time penalty.
Did they not learn from Barce?
That
was not it.
That driver was Mick Schumacher.
Just not the
currently
move.
running in 15th. And out in front, the gap 2.7 seconds. Hamilton over Verstappen. Leclerc still running within DRS range of Max Verstappen. The top three separated by 3.5 seconds currently. Barely anything between them.
That was a big lap for Verstappen. Just gained 6/10 there. And they've got nobody in front of them for a good while, if at all, during this race now.
Yeah.
So that was a big lap to close that much in one lap.
I wonder if Hamilton had a bit of a moment as we see Lando Norris going around the outside of Alex.
He's taking the first flight out of here.
Lando Norris
Santa
moves up
Monica.
into 9th place. He's rather enjoying himself at the first corner. I wonder if Hamilton had a moment. Turn 9. He had a lap time deleted. Did he go off the track and lose a bit of time as a result of that? Verstappen, another 2/10 on Hamilton during this part of the lap in the first sector. Another 4/10 in the middle.
Yeah.
They've switched on those medium compound tyres now.
It is dicey.
Go away.
I can't imagine.
So this is Nicholas Latifi forcing another driver off the track. Mick Schumacher, they both ended up off the track, and the stewards have decided that was all Latifi's fault. Under braking and locking up.
That's
losing control.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He thought he was Lando Norris for a hot second.
Like, I don't know what the
He wasn't
car
in
did.
control of the car, was he? So I think
hurt.
that's a fair call.
One man really trying to imitate Bubba Wallace from last weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, we helped.
My ABS isn't working.
That's a fair enough penalty.
6/10 was the advantage for the first two parts of lap 44, and Lewis Hamilton got a 10th back in the final part of the lap, so half a second the arrears have reduced.
Look at then Sergio Perez in 4th place, 9 seconds off the lead. He's just taken 1.3 out of Hamilton's pace with his dodgy front wing.
Sergio Perez could arrive on the scene. There's still time for him to arrive on the scene at the pace he is, and rather make amends for the scruffy race that he's had due to the front wing braking. Not particularly his fault on that one, but he's been having to cope with a damaged front wing for this entire race. And was Lewis Hamilton playing games a little bit with Max Verstappen? He's just gone a 10th of a second faster through the first sector on this lap. This is such a close finish coming up here, and it's who can look after their tyres and get the speed at the same time. And it's a carbon copy of last year when we had Lewis Hamilton gaining on Max Verstappen at the end of the race, and well, yellow flags, DRS to overtake a back marker and get past Mick Schumacher. Rather saved out Max Verstappen on that day.
You think
to go on and take one of those 32 career
Do you think Max is losing
wins.
advantage
They
with
matched
the
each other
medium
in the
tires?
middle sector. Hamilton and Verstappen, so Hamilton a 10th ahead during the course of this lap as we watch Magnussen with Alonso behind. Then comes Esteban Ocon, and Lando Norris has got DRS and is really finishing strongly in this race. And a little puff over the
but then
bump
again,
of smoke
Alonso's
there,
doing the same thing.
manages to overtake Esteban Ocon, and now it's up into 8th place.
Yeah, Lando's in that mode. Wherever you brake,
True.
I'm going to
Shout
brake a
out
little bit
to Lawrence.
later, and I'll sort it out when I get there. And he seems to have plenty of grip to be able to do that.
Lawrence
And Lewis
Stroll.
Hamilton punches in his best lap of the Grand Prix, and crucially, a few hundredths faster than Max Verstappen.
So the gap then on this lap, Max Verstappen is about a couple of tenths faster in the first sector. We'll see 1/10 faster through the first sector. 10-lap-old
Hopping the
medium
wheelie and
compound
being
tyre
P7.
against 11-lap-old hard compound tyre.
Honestly,
for Lewis Hamilton. There's a
yeah,
bit
Marcus
of cat
Eric,
and mouse going
I'll
on
never
here.
forget the Music
Maybe,
City GP.
a bit more
First of
use
its
to
kind.
the energy recovery system.
Truly a sign of its time. Honestly, we should do a watch along of the
That's
very
what Perez
first
was
Music
doing,
City
'cause he was,
GP.
8/10
All
slower next time around.
4
so,
hours of it.
As you say, they're in recovery mode one lap, punching it out the next lap. Verstappen
I watched it in real time.
first
I
sector
decided
of
this was my first. This was my very first IndyCar race I ever watched.
Now, doesn't he? To the
Yeah.
Mercedes. This feels so familiar,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
I stuck
4/10
around.
in the middle sector for Max
I don't
Verstappen
know.
over
I wasn't
Lewis
in the
Hamilton.
calendar.
who has not had this
Music
feeling
City.
of leading races and being within touching distance of a victory for quite some time.
Music City was such a
coming in Saudi Arabia.
It was just such an experience.
2021, the penultimate round of the 2021 Formula One season.
I think I got Stockholm. I think I got Stockholm syndrome from.
Few votes for that one, but I'm sure Charles Leclerc is too. Because here he is in third place, going for a 5th podium in a row, something he's never achieved in Formula One. And behind him, Sergio Perez, another 2nd out of the advantage Charles Leclerc's got on the previous lap.
Dan Weldon.
Verstappen now a 2nd away from picking up.
I remember hearing about
the
that
rear
one.
wing DRS from Lewis Hamilton. This is going to go down to the wire.
As it has done in the past when these two have been involved. Started 3rd, now 1st.
I hate having to breathe or like hold my breath. Like even like when Lance Stroll like had a relatively safe incident and it looks bad and you have to hold your breath until you see like
seems to be disappearing even more on this lap. Fastest first sector of the race so far goes to Verstappen. Crowd are loving this. We're loving this. Hope you are at home too. Whatever shirt you're wearing,
but then people will say the same thing about like Lewis nearly
this
killing
Max.
I mean, you know, it's understandable, and I'm a Lewis fan. And Lewis nearly nearly obliterated Max into the shadow realm.
Seconds with every revolution of the wheel.
It was not good.
Verstappen gets that little bit closer, inch by inch.
I love Lewis, but that was the peak of like the drama
and pit stop problems. When it all boils down to the finest drivers that ever raced.
Well, a lot of people viewed Lewis as, well, Red Bull fans will view Lewis as the villain, straight up.
Just improvise,
because of
have it live. That's what Formula One does so much better. As we head towards
you missed out
when I was yet another
when I was streaming. Toto showed up.
Will go on and claim the Constructors' Championship.
Toto showed up on the
since 2013. They would dearly love to do that by picking up a race win as well. And Max Verstappen now a 2.5 away from Lewis Hamilton. Are those medium tyres working that much better? Has Hamilton been saving any in reserve? What is going to happen before the checkered flag? As we see now Esteban Ocon picking his way through the field after a pit stop a couple of laps ago. That's his
I don't
move on
remember
Nicholas
any.
Latifi.
I don't remember
Up in
any of
the
my
15th
memories
place he
until I
goes.
was like
He's had a
5.
weekend.
To be
Ocon
honest.
just hasn't worked out that well for him, has it? On a number of fronts. Vettel then, I mean, he can still get a point. He can still steal a World Championship point or two as Fernando Alonso closes in on Kevin Magnussen for 6th place.
And that 6th place is where Sebastian Vettel should have been competing for. Had he not have had that horrific problem at the pit stop, it would have been back-to-back 6th place finishes. But there he is. He's on the back of a DRS train on fresher tyres. Yuki Tsunoda, Zhou Guanyu,
and this is
Alex
saying as someone
Albon
that's a
ahead
Lewis
of
fan.
him. So there could
It's
be a
not his
couple of
fault.
points
It's
available
just-
for Vettel if he can put those tyres to good use. Meanwhile,
Very
out
dangerous.
in front, Hamilton a 10th ahead in the first sector, Verstappen a 10th ahead in the middle sector.
Not only did he win, but he also celebrated.
So
it's pretty funny.
But now
People were
this
mad
next couple of
salty
laps,
about
he
that.
needs to
That
get
was
in the
funny as hell,
DRS,
though.
doesn't he? Next three maximum, he needs to get within that 1 second. Because that's worth 0.6.
Yeah.
If you can get the rear wing open, still debris on that back straight.
And Fernando Alonso making his way
Can you make Ed Sheeran
past,
the Koneko driver of the day?
the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. I didn't know if that debris had come off the
He
back
should be
of the
the-
Haas, or if it was just something that they'd come off the back of the Alpine, or they picked it up from the track.
He
It was
should-
bouncing away on the track, wasn't it?
It's Alonso's mirror.
Could well
Right
be.
hand mirror. And Sky Race Control said to me earlier he saw it wobbling around. And there it is. Good spot there, Ant.
Look at that thing.
And we can see the moment where it does bounce
Boingo,
off.
boingo, 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 boingo. Oh, and it's
The minute
gone.
he moves from behind, out of the slipstream, there it goes.
Yeah, but don't forget that mirror had a fairly heavy landing earlier on, didn't it? There it is.
It's a free
That
super.
was a nice thing to be in the middle
Free
of the
super
racetrack.
Well, been a bit overweight that car, hasn't it? The Alpine, a bit lighter by the mirror falling off.
And if you're wondering, yes, they get weighed at the end of the race.
Did you see? Did you guys ever see they were experimenting? They were experimenting with new regulations on the mirrors, and some mirrors were like double the size.
Now is well below the magic second he's going to have DRS in his fight with Lewis Hamilton. This moment has been coming, hasn't it? For the last few laps, Verstappen bit by bit has been getting closer. And it's all eyes on the monitors, and it's fingers crossed, isn't it, in both garages?
That was so impressive.
Inside the Mercedes garage, out on the track, these two
could you imagine,
what they do best.
Could you imagine taking 130R with one hand? I can't even do that like virtually with assist on.
To go for it into turn one this time around. He looks like it. He's got the DRS now. Hamilton's looking in his mirrors to see where Verstappen is, to see where that threat might be coming. And Verstappen doesn't make the challenge on this particular
there is a helicopter.
He's got a long back straight to come.
Yeah, Verstappen's got the faster tyre, the faster car, and better straight line speed, and he'll have the DRS rear wing open. So,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If we have the heli cams, why do we have? We do not need drone cams. We don't need drone cams.
About what might be about to happen.
It's about a 7-mile-an-hour advantage, Red Bull over Mercedes during qualifying, going through the speed traps, and they've got that advantage not just on the straights, but in the middle part of the lap too, through that tight section.
No, it doesn't. I don't get it.
Very well in touch with Hamilton as they make their way then out of turn 11. Sebastian Vettel is up into the points again and into 10th. He's just got past Zhou Guanyu. As the track rises up, drops down again, and Verstappen with DRS closing in on Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton leading the race. Verstappen goes down the inside. Hamilton sees that coming, tries the switcheroo. Verstappen goes deep, and now they're going to go wheel to wheel. Hamilton tries to go round the outside. Verstappen just runs him out of space, but then there's a drift from the Red Bull, almost giving Hamilton the chance to move back again. Now the track will swing left-handed. Hamilton hasn't given this one up, but Verstappen with better traction just moves ahead
Red Bull
and through the higher speed corners has the lead of this race. And on the day they can make the World Championship, a driver and a Constructors World Championship, Verstappen looks like he's going to go and win the race to seal it.
So dumb, man.
My permission has put out a statement saying I'm driving for them in season 5 of IBGGC. This is not true.
Yeah, I think they're talking about they think Lewis moved under braking in any event. There was enough space there. So, and of course they'll be wanting to win this race when they're found.
Can I just say, I just saw the Mercedes use DRS, and I think it went negative on the Delta.
Lewis not giving it up easily. Now watch this. Max gets on the power. We've moved away, but yeah, there was just nothing Lewis could do. It was quite a late move from him there. I can understand why Max didn't appreciate it too much.
Naked rear.
But as I said, faster tyre, faster car, DRS. And the Mercedes was sitting down at the end of the back straight.
And there is the scene. Car number 1, Max Verstappen, ahead of car number 44, Lewis Hamilton, as they make their way down the back straight. Still got DRS, has Lewis Hamilton. Is there a chance of a late lunge from Hamilton this time around? Not quite, but he's sticking with him.
Fuck off.
Hamilton thinks that Verstappen's going off the track, and he wants it to be known to everyone that he's seeing all 4 wheels over the white line. I'm sure the stewards are looking at that very closely. They certainly should be. Charles Leclerc runs in 3rd place currently, some 4 seconds behind this particular battle with Checo Perez.
Towing the line.
You need to make sure you're safe on track limits now, please, Max.
With Checo Perez trying to gain on him, but only by a 1/10 of a second. George Russell
Red
in
Bull
the top 5
tiptoeing the line
once
of
again,
legality.
a long way clear of Fernando Alonso, who's running in 6th place. 5 laps to go, Martin.
Yeah, that's the only thing now that can catch Verstappen. Now I know that I haven't seen him getting a warning, I don't think, but we've lost. We've had so many warnings. We're on page 7 or something by now. I know that Hamilton got a warning at 24 minutes past the hour for track limits, but I don't think. Oh yes, Verstappen, 32 minutes past the hour, a warning. So he needs to keep it on the road.
Talking of keeping it on the road and trying to get back into double points, not just the one. Here goes Sebastian Vettel round the outside of Alex Albon. Sebastian Vettel up into 9th place. and keeping the car very much on the road.
They race me so hard, Alex.
To dive down the inside and get back in front of the Aston Martin. Hamilton
Alex,
still
you got
within
this.
DRS range of Max Verstappen down that back straight. Vettel leads Albon over the line. Then comes Yuki Tsunoda and Zhou Guanyu. And by the time the Verstappen and Hamilton get to turn 12, only half a second between them.
Yeah, so now Verstappen takes a 5-second penalty if he runs wide again.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah, so you've used up all your strikes now, Max, so you need to be safe on track limits.
Yeah, aiming for the home run here. Max Verstappen, 3 strikes and you're out in Formula 1. And we've got 5 laps to go. So let's head down to Ted Kravitz.
Great recovery from Sebastian Vettel, up into P9 now, 2 points ahead of the Williams, which is still in the points with Alex Albon. And is Sebastian Vettel going to have enough laps to try and close on Kevin Magnussen? Trying the one stop, isn't he, after the safety car? Magnussen in the Haas, still holding P8.
I just think it's right.
P7, so that's going to be a good fight towards the end. Can K-Mag hold on with Vettel chasing?
Vettel is pulling away now from Alex Albon, who's got to defend from the Alpha Tauri, he's got to defend from the Alfa Romeo. We can look once again at that move that Sebastian Vettel pulled off on the Williams, which is a slippery thing, in a straight line. Tried to get into the corner ahead, but went wide in doing so. That's going to let the Williams come back on the track with a bit of an advantage, and then we see Vettel managing to get past through the next right-hander.
Hamilton's done the fastest first sector of anybody in the entire Grand Prix. He's hanging on the back of that Red Bull.
Yeah, Max has definitely not got away from Lewis Hamilton since he took the lead of this race.
So Max now at 3 strikes.
Damn, he's going for a home run.
Hamilton is just keeping everyone up to date as to where he thinks Max is going off the track and leaving it. Remember, it's the white line that defines the edge. All 4 wheels over the white line, and you've exceeded track limits, and you're allowed to do it 3 times before you get a penalty in the race itself.
Turn 12 incident involving 4 cars.
Vettel going off the track, I think.
Latifi, Albon,
still ahead of the 3 cars behind him, but not behind Alex Albon.
Hamilton then with another track limits and 40 minutes past the hour, so he must be getting close.
I don't know what the Williams are thinking. And possibly turn 9.
It's a running commentary, but
let's go.
Crucially on the last lap, Max
1, 2.
Has pulled out to
Lewis like it was off in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 21.
Can go that much faster through the middle sector here.
Yeah, and the rear tyres of Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes really complaining under torque demand, under throttle coming out of turn 1 there.
1.2.
So Max Verstappen then might be able to breathe a little bit more easily. He's aiming for win number 33 in his career. It's car number 33 when it's not running the
black and white
flag shown for Lewis Hamilton for exceeding track limits. Now they've both got to be careful.
Hamilton now also 3 strikes on track limits, so just keep it safe.
So here's the 7-time world champion.
33 wins for Max Verstappen, by the way. Coincidentally, Max's win total of all American drivers combined.
The kicker is going to be like Max is going to get a 5-second, and then they're also going to give Lewis a 5-second anyways.
Red Bull, as you said, Martin, on the weekend with the sad news of the passing of the Red Bull co-owner, but in Formula 1 terms, the owner of the team, Dietrich Mateschitz, and Alpha Tauri as well, to win the race, to claim the Constructors' Championship too. Well, it's what he would have absolutely loved to have been part of and to have seen the success that he laid the foundation for.
Yes, he would have seen obviously Max getting the title. That curious situation at the end of the race in Suzuka. But he sadly is going to miss the team taking another Constructors' Championship.
This
I think Mercedes
feels very reminiscent of literally 2021.
Meanwhile, Lando Norris is gaining on.
This actually feels incredibly reminiscent of 2021.
Still getting a lot closer to Kevin Magnussen. So there are still a few things to unfold between now and the checkered flag. But out in front, Verstappen has had to work so hard after a problematic pit stop that saw him stationary for way longer than he wanted. Brought him out behind Charles Leclerc. He managed to get past the Ferrari and eventually managed to get past Lewis Hamilton, who has tantalisingly come within touching distance of a race win here this afternoon. He's given it absolutely everything and will be disappointed, I'm sure, with second, but can take great heart in the way that Mercedes and himself have performed.
They should have hit him. And
really gone away quite quickly now for Lewis Hamilton.
Shame.
So he's done and dusted in terms of the fight now. That's over. Perez still a couple of seconds behind Leclerc for the final position on the podium. And Russell with a great chance of P5 and a point for fastest lap, as you rightly predicted.
What the fuck?
Waiting, Tim Cook with the checkered flag to wave to the race winner.
He's going to wave an
iPhone.
iPhone.
The advantage now for Max Verstappen. What an afternoon this has been.
His trophy's actually going to be
as well. But
instead of what's it called? Instead of a trophy,
he's going to come out on top, as he has done so often during the course of this season. Don't forget, a win
they're going to give iPhones to the winner.
13th win of the season. It will take him alongside Sebastian Vettel. Who notched up 13 wins for Red Bull, and alongside
it really
Michael
should have been
Schumacher with his 13 wins for Ferrari as the most wins in a single season, and he's still got 3 races to hold that record for himself.
Yeah, but as he rightly said in the interview earlier on in the show, we do a lot more races now, so you know, I'm not going to claim too much credit for more races in the season, but nonetheless, they all say they're not interested in the stats, but I'm sure they're pretty nice to have when you look back on your career.
They make really nice reading, don't they? Lando Norris is ahead of Fernando Alonso for 6th place. He's managed to pass him down that back straight. Still Sebastian Vettel behind Kevin Magnussen, gaining on him. But as he makes his way down the back straight, no one is coming within touching distance of this man again.
We've seen some great drives today, haven't we? Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc making his way through. Sebastian Vettel, tremendous drive apart from that horrible pit stop. Lando Norris been really punchy on the brakes. Fernando Alonso flying through the air. Why? Absolutely winded, wasn't he? He landed so hard, and still he's back up into 7th place.
It's a miracle.
In the land of the Longhorns, it's the Red Bulls that are on top once again. Max Verstappen, just a few more corners to go to come and claim back-to-back successive US Grand Prix victories. It's a victory that will give Red Bull the Constructors' Championship in 2022. It's celebrations for team and for driver on such a poignant weekend. Max Verstappen wins the United States Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton comes home to take 2nd place. And a brilliant fighting 2nd place it was. And Charles Leclerc, for the first time in his career, from lower than 7th on the grid, comes home to finish on the podium too. What a splendid drive from each and every one. And the action's still not over. Kevin Magnussen on the inside, Sebastian Vettel trying to fight him. Magnussen going for the one stop. He's barely got any grip there as Vettel tries to close in on him. Sergio Perez comes home in 4th place. George Russell's going for the fastest lap of the race. We'll see if they can take that for Mercedes, and we'll see if Sebastian Vettel out of the corner now can try and take Kevin Magnussen, who's defending for all his life. Vettel in his final United States Grand Prix. Has he got the move done? No, not quite. George Russell takes the fastest lap of the race now. He's got the move done. The fireworks are going off, and on the track, Sebastian Vettel still giving his explosive action. Norris 6th, Alonso 7th. Sebastian Vettel comes home to finish 8th ahead of Kevin Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda, and that's the top 10
Honestly,
point scorers.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Tim Cook is sort of how I feel. Tim Cook is probably a Mercedes fan.
It's a shame. What a super, incredible drive from Vettel.
Max Verstappen, you are world champion. We are world champions. Thank you so much, and thank you, Dietrich Mateschitz, for everything that you have done for us, for this team, and these championships are for you. Thank you.
No, this one was for Dietrich. I gave it everything out there, even though, of course, we had that stop. But yeah, I was a bit upset, but I just keep pushing. And yeah, congrats, guys! What an amazing season to win also the constructors. You guys really deserve it.
Yeah, fantastic result, Max. and another milestone. Actually a 13th win as well this year. Fantastic result.
3 more chances to add on that, mate.
3 more chances.
Is that Little Dicky?
He did that in style, well done.
No. Yeah, it was a bit hectic, but...
That Little Dicky, what the fuck?
After all, it wasn't a 1-2 for the team today, Martin. They've had 5 1-2 finishes this season, but it was a very, very special day for them, and you can understand the emotion on Christian Horner's face with everything that's happened in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, Max dug them out of a hole there, but you know, what goes around comes around in a team.
No, I think Little Dicky of all people is not racist.
A bit of formation flying then on the way in. For the champion.
Nice work, Lewis. That was a great drive, mate. Absolutely splendid day, that one. I was so close, mate, but yeah, we'll get him next time.
I gave it everything, guys. Gave it everything. Great work with the pit stop and strategy. So close, but so far. Let's keep pushing, and big thanks to all the supporters out there.
I just love how Lewis talks.
Well, equals his best finish, of course.
Some people think he's
season.
fake.
Driver of the day goes to Sebastian Vettel. Yeah.
He's the most, he's such...
We're not going to get many more chances to appreciate this man in Formula 1.
Yeah.
Like, he's mega fucking professional, isn't it?
People think he's like PR fake, but then the reality is he's actually just really, really nice. Like he just is genuine.
Really well.
He's just genuinely really nice.
You know what? The fans are very... They're spot on in understanding, in my experience, of who really excelled. But out front, it was a great scrap, wasn't it?
But this is for Dietrich.
Oh man, I told her they need to get no matter what happens next year. They gotta get rid of the zero pod design. It's not it.
Charles Leclerc, in the end.
I will riot if they keep the zero pod design in 2023.
He got
I
that
will
extra
riot.
lap in today to go past 3.499. He wouldn't want to retire on that, even though when he does retire in Abu Dhabi, it will be his 299th Grand Prix start. Maybe he will get that guest drive in Japan that he wanted. As Helmut Marko,
it's just a Frankenstein experiment gone wrong, and
very
they
close to
need to
Dietrich
cut their losses
who
now
heads up
and
that
just start development on like
development program, hugs Max
traditional
before the Stetson-wearing crew
2022
give their man great celebrations. He wasn't as happy with them as he is now about half an hour ago.
Yeah, that's what
he said. I got a bit upset.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that like they need to, like, going into 2023 decommit from the zero pod design. It's just not
Constructors champions, they had the flag made up. They probably could have made that flag up about 10 races.
And like if they keep on committing to the zero pod design, they're never gonna win a race like this. Like, it's just gonna keep going like this.
And the first driver to win 2 races in the US in the same year since Alan Jones at Long Beach in Las Vegas in 19.
I will drink a Red Bull in Dietrich's
we saw Anthony Hamilton. There's his dad there congratulating him.
Broken heart emoji.
Damn, nice congratulations all round.
That's all they posted.
Jones was
Damn,
also reigning world champion, of course, in 81 when he won those 2
where's
races
Kuro?
in the US. Drivers all get weighed, of course.
Take up
Pierre Gasly comes over to shake hands with Dr. Marko.
If it was Max,
it looks like Helmut Marko's going up on the podium, doesn't it, to receive the winner's trophy for the constructor.
Well, he was very, very close friends with Dietrich Mateschitz, and I think that's an absolutely splendid
Are we gonna
idea.
have Danica Patrick have to do
close friend and
interviews again?
confident, the man that has run that driver development program for him over the years, to go up onto the trophy,
getting a sippy.
onto the podium, I should say, to receive the trophies. Drivers can have a drink of water now. They've all been weighed.
Well, Charles wasn't even.
And for Charles Leclerc,
Charles had a really fantastic
his
race.
first pit stop a little bit, but pulled off some brilliant moves.
Charles actually probably had
his
the best
car
result that he
to
could.
earn that luck. And
So,
first
I mean,
time outside the top 7 on the grid, he's finished on the podium.
Yeah, the safety cars helped him. It's sort of been a slightly anonymous afternoon, but he's persevered.
I feel like there's nothing to be ashamed of for Charles. He literally got the best result that he could from P12.
Could have
So
got
this is
in the other Ferrari from pole position. I don't think Ferrari didn't have the pace today to beat Red Bull, did they? In a normalised race.
We don't talk about that black
Christian
car.
Horner making his way to have a few words with Dr. Marco. And great to see all the crowd allowed onto the track as well. I think Christian wants to go and see his world champion, current drivers world champion and Red Bull Constructors champions then for the first time in this turbo hybrid era, when things were looking so wonderful for them in 2013, and Sebastian Vettel said, remember these moments, they might not last forever. Well, they've had to wait quite a long time for their next championship, haven't they?
Yeah. Yes. It was very prophetic of him, wasn't it, at the time?
David Coulthard is down in Parc Ferme. Let's hear from him at the top three.
Charles, that was a great comeback for you. Safety car obviously brought you back into the race. But when you had some good battles there with the Red Bull, the pace just wasn't quite there to keep them behind, but you must be satisfied overall.
What did he do to you?
Yeah, satisfied in a way, because we started P12, well, so podium is a good achievement, but looking at the race, it's obviously a little bit disappointing. We had the pace, but then we had a little bit too much deck towards the end of the race, and
but we had too much deck. It's literally every
P12 is not that bad.
Yeah, we're seeing behind you on the screen there
every
some
single
good overtaking,
interview
some good racing out
ends
there.
with, but we had too much
in the
deck.
face, so this is
every
one of the tougher
single
races,
week.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is, especially the first sector with so much G-forces, and with a tire deck, you keep working with the steering wheel, which makes it even more difficult. But it was quite a nice battle with Checo, and then later on with Max. But to keep working in order to challenge them a bit more towards the end of the race.
So we're still waiting for number 2 and number 1 to come out and join us. So let's talk a little bit Ferrari, racing for them in America. You have a huge following here.
Yeah, I'm extremely lucky to be a Ferrari driver. I know we need to keep pushing. It's great to be here to see so many people and so many red shirts. So yeah, we'll keep working, and hopefully next year we'll win.
And you have a short turnaround now before the Mexican Grand Prix. Any upgrades coming for that race?
Anyone?
Any upgrades? Any more performance coming for
Ride
that
him,
front?
cowboy!
It's not planned that way, but yeah, we'll try to maximize our package.
Okay, Charles, thank you very much. Enjoy the podium.
Thank you very much.
Lewis, getting some water down there. Charles has told us it's a tough race. You have a great following here. For a moment, it looked like the victory was on. You gave it everything. We heard you complimenting the team on the strategy, but just the underlying pace wasn't there.
What?
Yeah, first I want to give a huge thank you to the crowd here. We have such an amazing crowd. This is the biggest crowd we've had here in the whole time we've been here. So
like
big thank you, everybody.
That
was. Secondly, I want to give a big shout out to my team.
You can fit Yuki in
we
your
came
pocket.
here with upgrades.
If
We
you're
closed the gap a
5'2".
little bit. It was so close, but I did everything I could to try and stay ahead, but they were just a little bit too quick today. But great strategy, great race by Red Bull, and again, my condolences to the team.
Beautiful words, Lewis. Great respect there. Put us in the cockpit, as you can hear the crowd cheering for you there. This was a tough race. You love this race circuit, but how far did you have to dig deep to get yourself into that lead?
I mean, I'm shattered. The car was a handful today, and it felt amazing firstly to be in the lead. That's something we've been working so hard on as a team through the year, and I felt so much hope. But it's okay, we'll hold on to that, we'll keep pushing, we'll try and give it everything we can in these next 3. He'll come to us at some stage, so.
Okay, well, enjoy the podium, enjoy the champagne, and get a rest before Mexico.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner, Max Verstappen. Wow, you worked hard for that one. It looked at a certain moment, it was slipping away. The pit stop, very uncharacteristic. There was an issue clearly with the wheel gun, but then you got your head down. You had to fight hard there with Lewis. How does this victory feel?
Yeah, it was a
But
tough
did they bring
one. I
back
mean, it was all
Shaq?
looking good, but then of course, pit stop was a bit longer than we would have liked, so I had to fight my way forward again. But yeah, we gave it everything out there today, and of course, it's a very difficult weekend for us. So this one is definitely dedicated to Dietrich himself.
That's
what he has done
a
for
t-shirt
everyone.
and a half.
The only thing we could do today was win, and even though after the pit stop it was not looking great, I gave it everything out there, and I pushed to the limit to come back.
So we saw you embracing with helmet Marco as you got from the car. He's been instrumental, obviously, in so many drivers' careers.
Push it at 50% and still win.
On reflection on the life of Dietrich Mateschitz
I'm
to win the Constructors'
right,
Championship here as well. So along with Checo,
I'm telling you right now, like, and now I understand how Red Bull fans feel when Lewis won with 3 tires. But like, even though that was pretty crazy, I've seen Max win in the most egregious ways in this entire year. He did a 360 no-scope in like Imola and still won. I still can't believe that.
The battle continued to the next corner.
Yeah, it was a few corners, but this is a great track anyway for battling. Like if you pass a
I don't remember.
you can come back in the next, and yeah, it's really enjoyable to drive here.
Does this victory mean more to you because of the emotion of the weekend, because of the passing of Mr. Mateschitz, than other victories?
It definitely means a lot to me, to the team, because you know, he was so important for the whole team. He's so instrumental, and of course, it will continue. But we really wanted to have a good result today, and yeah, this is of course amazing.
Well, very well done. Go and enjoy the podium ceremony. I'll see you in Mexico.
10 races here
first,
in Austin. 10
constructors
races
of the hybrid
row.
Is that the
Max
first?
Verstappen today on a very emotional day and weekend for the team. Adrian Newey, car continues to go from strength to strength. It is the most
they didn't bring
car
Shaq. What the
ever
fuck?
designed. I'm sure he'd ever designed something like this, Martin Brundle, but
They brought
Shaq arrives in style.
Yeah, this, I'm thinking before, he did this before, he could almost hand the trophy up to them. Up on the podium,
that's the big diesel.
Shirt business. Great to see him here.
There's the trophy for the winners here at the Circuit of the Americas. Our second of 2 races in the USA this season. We make it 3 races next year.
I would have spoken to him on the grid, but I couldn't find him.
Couldn't see him. Let's go to
Leclerc's like, what?
Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
The camera was far away. I was so hot.
Someone mistook Shaq for Michael Jordan a while ago, and I was like,
You see that big Shaq lifting the car. Oh wait, sorry. You see a big Shaq lifting the car. And like the entire Red Bull team just piled into it.
Shaq's like the weight of an F1.
Yeah.
I want
actually possible. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's how he broke the backboard. Yeah. Shaq.
with the speed of an F1 car. Maybe.
That happened.
That happened during a professional game. It was,
basketball would have been a lot more interesting if I seen that.
Shaq was built legitimately different. He looked like 2. He brought down the entire thing one time. He brought down.
No grip there. I know that I can't find it. He's big. Shattered the glass on a backboard one time.
Yeah, he ripped the
The
backboard
thing,
out.
Martin Brundle, about arriving and starting big cars, there's plenty of room. Car share is on, which is probably a good idea because the traffic trying to get out of this circuit took us a while last night. We all had cars like that. We could all go home in the same vehicle.
Yeah, what's underneath it?
They're laying the Red Bull.
Looks of him.
Honestly,
I've actually met
I'm happy for
Or is that
them.
going up?
That
Not going up,
sit
is
on
it?
our couch and actually, like, that would be a regular
That's
couch for him.
No, they need a Shaq size couch in IKEA. Special
It's
size.
a chance after 24 hours of reflection for the team. It's a chance to do what they were always
I mean,
encouraged
yeah,
by
it's Shaq. Shaq will make
Mateschitz,
everyone
to
feel
celebrate-
incredibly short.
To celebrate victories and excellence on the track. Charles Leclerc makes his way onto the podium for the 23rd time and for the 5th time in a row. And for the first time in his career, 5 podiums in a row for Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton loves it in the United States, 6 times winner on US soil, but sadly for him, it was the runners-up spot today. It was Max Verstappen and Red Bull who
Max
take
Verstappen
the honours. And a season that just goes from strength to
crazy.
strength to strength.
Who do you think is going to win
13th
Mexico?
win for the world champion.
That Max Verstappen guy's pretty quick.
Man.
I don't. All right.
Swear, I think I've heard this tune before.
We're finding out that in the cost cap era, that if you overspin, you'll be easily ahead of it.
Okay. By the way, I love the banter. Am I the one that actually like low-key like I love the banter that Mercedes and Ferrari and McLaren are going through with it and stuff like that. Like they're giving them hell, and they're and I love how much pressure they're giving the FIA. The fact that Toto keeps on saying, yeah, depending on how severe the penalty is, I don't know, I might overspend a little bit next year on accident. Oopsies.
I had a rant about this earlier this week.
Like,
because McLaren's mad as shit. Because they got kicked out of the championship for less.
Fucking good. No, I mean, like, good. This is the only way to respond to it.
There's no person who got a benefit out of seeing the information they saw. Like,
that's why I'm saying is that, like,
Ferrari, had dodgy engines, knowingly breaking the rules, then goes behind the doors and makes closed doors deal, and they didn't get kicked out.
The fact of the matter is, one team misinterpreted the rules out of all of the constructors, and it's the team that won. Like,
no, you cannot say they misinterpreted.
They knew what they were.
2020 was a dry run of they submitted all their paperwork. There were no irregularities.
That's what I'm saying. They deadass broke the rules straight up, and it's the team, of course, that writes the history books and won. So like,
victory then for Max Verstappen.
If I'm
Red
all
Bull,
of the other
and whilst
teams,
our
I'm pissed.
attention
I should be pissed as fuck.
Often Martin Brundle on the drivers in this sport. It's the Constructors' Championship that means the most in terms of prize money and points for next season.
Yeah, it is. And garage position in the pit lane, for example, and the knock-on and the marketing effect means their entry fee is high next year. But I'm sure they'll be very happy to pay that.
To break the cost cap. What are they also the other team to do?
Not covered covered in the cost cap. I don't think entry fees for next season.
More of that in the next 72 hours, I'm sure. But for now, it's all about the celebration.
And I think for Helmut Marko today, he'll sit
and they're also the first to win. They're winning this cost cap era. So it goes to show. Go over the cost cap equal win.
Together. And the good times that he and Red Bull, I'm sure, will have in the future. And Lewis Hamilton will think back to the good times and realise that they haven't gone forever either. Because Mercedes, with some new upgrades, very much took the fight to Red Bull today. Didn't have the pace on the straights, couldn't keep Max at bay in the end. Ferrari, well, I think Charles Leclerc would have been beaten by Max Verstappen even if he'd have started on the front row without that penalty. They all came to challenge, as they have done throughout this season. But it's Red Bull on top on the day that their Drivers' World Champion came and won in Texas and sealed their first
everyone's clowning on Tim Cook. I think he's just a Mercedes fan. I think he was a big Lewis Hamilton fan, and he was pissed.
Well, a highly emotionally charged win for Max Verstappen.
My face went 2022 Ferrari fan.
Record with Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel for a number of victories within a season. Dr. Helmut Marko up there as they clinch the constructors.
That's gonna be my profile pic for the rest of today. I'm making that's my profile pic, everyone. So
the team that Dietrich Mateschitz built. You can see the emotion written all over Dr. Marko's face. Christian Horner's too. But well done to them. The race came alive, didn't it?
I'm gonna use that as a reaction to so many tweets. I got so many tweets.
Nevertheless, they'll be happy with the fact that they managed to keep the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc at bay, but in the end, that Red Bull package just too strong once again. He closed them both down, overtook them, used the DRS, and another victory for them.
I don't think anyone appreciates the game that Red Bull is playing.
Be a tempered celebration this evening as they reflect on the life of Mr. Mateschitz. Elsewhere, though,
tonight we've got the NFL continuing, week 7, 2 matches. Right now on Sky Sports NFL, the Seahawks at the Chargers, and then the late game from 1:10 is the Steelers at the Dolphins.
I mean, apparently they
Monday Night Football is West Ham against Bournemouth. That's from 7 o'clock on Sky Sports Premier League.
No, who was it? Was it McLaren with the Alonso crash case?
Gangs of London available right now on Sky Atlantic.
Was
Next
Renault.
up, with 3 to go, it's Mexico.
That was pretty bad too. I'm just saying, teams will do some pretty wacky shit.
The people is very happy.
No, because the thing is, it wasn't obvious. It wasn't obvious until like PK spoke up about it when he got fired. They would have gotten away with it if they didn't fire PK.
The way he spun in the warm-up was kind of sus, not gonna lie.
Well, everyone's saying it's sus in hindsight. Let's go.
Sergio Perez Checo will be wanting to turn it on for his Mexican fan base. Will be live next weekend for all of the action from Mexico City here on Sky Sports F1.
Why is it?
Okay, there's lots to reflect on. Really exciting end to the race here.
Do you think?
Second of the Americas, George Russell had enough
Do you think like if you look in the crowd, you actually see Dream, but he's wearing his mask?
And therefore he got the DHL fastest lap of 1:38.788
He's wearing his mask.
On top of his 5th position.
Why is he still? Why is he still like covering his face? He already showed it.
From the pit stop that cost him about 10 seconds, but in the
What's he covering his face for?
He drove a fine race to pick up another victory.
Kakashi looking motherfucker.
More in a couple of minutes' time.
Oh my god.
That was a
God
Thank you for hosting, Kyo.
Thank you, thank you, everyone.
See y'all later.
Appreciate it. This was a great watch along. Appreciate it, y'all. This was always fun. I appreciate you, Koneko, for always being around.
I'm gonna go make dinner and then build some models.
I'm gonna go have another good cry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lay down and I also watch the 49ers game.
No, I missed the sign up for the race. Oh god, I gotta wait 2 hours. Fuck.
Damn it.
Alright, well, thank you for hosting, everyone. Sorry. Oh my god.
Yeah. No,
Thank you for
I
coming,
appreciate
everyone.
it.
And
We will see you guys. We'll see you
time.
guys. I think next week is Mexico. I believe Mexico next week for the Mexico GP.
I'm ready for that.
All right.
Right. See you.
Bye bye everybody.
Good guys. See you in Mexico.
Jeez.